physical injury. Again, this is a low-level felony, punishable by up to 5 years. This is not what Breonna Taylor's family wanted to see, not what her mother wanted to see her on a few occasions. And at one point I asked her, did she have faith in the system? And she said that she had seen the system fail so many times, she didn't really have faith that the system was going to rule in her favor this time. And even before this happened, Breonna, there was a lot of talk about this particular officer, Officer Brett Amosy, who, as you know, was fired by the Louisville Metro Police Department for wantonly and reliably firing his weapon 10 times. And there was a lot of talk among those who support Breonna Taylor and her family that perhaps this officer would be the quote fall guy. And the reason why they say that is because it's the family's position that all three of the officers that day were reckless, that all three of them should be held accountable. And at the very least, that these officers should have faced second-degree manslaughter charges. That is not what we're seeing. And again, we're going to hear from the Attorney General, get an opportunity to hear about the case and lay out some of the specifics in terms of how they reached that decision. A lot of concern about what's going to happen going forward. Protests about it. Obviously, the Taylor family has called for three peaceful protests. We've seen people out there part day in and day out protests for more than 100 days. So not all those protests peaceful, but again, the family is looking for peaceful protests. The city of Louisville basically is at a point where they have ordered up buildings in downtown. They also, the mayor at this point has called for a curfew starting at 9 p.m. tonight in anticipation of those who want to come out and protest. 9 p.m. until 6 a.m. The National Guard here also activated as a precaution as well. So a lot of moving parts going on here, but one point is clear at this point. Taylor's family definitely disappointed with the outcome of the Breonna. Yeah, and just to add to that, I'm sorry. Well, just to add to that, 26 years old, and loved by her family and those who knew her, and this is why it's so very difficult to remember for.
Hey fuckers, breaking news live stream, and the Attorney General has announced a decision in the Breonna Taylor case. We are at that decision live. This is an impromptu stream. Hello to everybody in the chat. We do know the jury has indicted one officer. We do know there's going to be a lot of protests tonight. I am going to do my part to. No, I can't fast forward it. It's a live feed, so, and I don't have that psychic ability to fast forward a live feed. We will have coverage around the clock tonight on the protest. We're waiting for the official announcement now. That's why we're live. We do know that one officer has been, one officer only is what we're looking at right now. The indicted one officer. El Sancho is going to have around the clock coverage. Everyone stay tuned. And fuck Taco Josh. Here we go. Here we go. The official announcements incoming, everybody. So the announcement's about to come in. Just so you know, ex-officer Brett Hankinson has been indicted in connection with Breonna Taylor's death. Brett Hankinson, the former Louisville police officer who fatally shot Breonna Taylor, has been indicted by a grand jury on 3 counts of wanton endangerment in the first degree. 2 other officers involved in the March shooting, Sergeant John Mattingly and Detective Miles Cosgrove, were not charged following months of demonstrations calling for the arrest of all officers. Anticipating unrest, city officials have announced Wednesday night curfew, and they are closing parts of downtown Louisville. This is a 6-month case in regards to the death of a 26-year-old black EMT and aspiring nurse, Breonna Taylor, who was shot to death by Louisville police officers in her home. The officers broke down the door to her apartment while executing a late-night no-knock warrant in a narcotics investigation on March 13th. We're waiting for the official announcement, but for those who are watching, you are listening to El Sancho live coverage of the Breonna Taylor case. Hello, Kev. Hello, Adam. Hello, Rebecca. Hello, Josh. Hello, Not a Brat, Gary. Everybody else in the chat. Hello, good morning, good afternoon. Johnny D, my guy, how are you? This is a unique afternoon stream, breaking news. The Kentucky Attorney General has announced it, and they are going live to the podium. I'm going to take to you now. Yeah, it's all over the headlines. I didn't spoil shit. Here we go, everyone. We're going live to Louisville, Kentucky. Here we go.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. I know that many in Louisville and across the Commonwealth and country have been anxiously awaiting the completion of our investigation into the death of Miss Breonna Taylor. Prior to this announcement, I spoke with Ms. Palmer, Breonna Taylor's mother, to share with her the results from the grand jury. Many of you in this room know that I had the opportunity last month to meet in person with her and other members of Ms. Taylor's family, including Ms. Bianca Austin and Ms. Janiyah Palmer. I want to once again publicly express my condolences. Every day, this family wakes up to the realization that someone they loved is no longer with them. There's nothing I can offer today to take away the grief and heartache this family is experiencing as a result of losing a child, a niece, a sister, and a friend. What I can provide today are the facts, which my office has worked long and hard to uncover, analyze, and scrutinize since accepting this case in mid-May. I urge everyone listening today to not lose sight of the fact that a life has been lost, a tragedy under any circumstances. The decision before my office as the special prosecutor in this case was not to decide if the loss of Ms. Taylor's life was a tragedy. The answer to that question is unequivocally yes. There is no doubt that this is a gut-wrenching, emotional case, and the pain that many people are feeling is understandable. I deeply care about the value and sanctity of human life. It deserves protection, and in this case, a human life was lost. We cannot forget that. My job as the special prosecutor in this case was to put emotions aside and investigate the facts to determine if criminal violations of state law resulted in the loss of Ms. Taylor's life. This included examining the actions of Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly, Detective Brett Hankinson, and Detective Miles Cosgrove, the three officers who fired their weapons in the early morning hours of March 13th. In working with our federal partners on this case, it was determined that while we would share information to advance our respective investigations, we must also maintain some level of separation to ensure the integrity of each investigation. When examining issues regarding potential civil rights violations, we determined that any such violation are better addressed through a federal-led investigation, and issues involving potential criminal acts concerning the shooting are better addressed by a state-led investigation. With this in mind, our investigation focused on the events that took place in Ms. Taylor's apartment on March 13th. In the months since taking this case, our dedicated team of prosecutors and investigators with more than 200 years of combined career experience conducted a thorough investigation to better understand the events that led to Ms. Taylor's death. The team is here with me today. I want to personally and publicly thank them for their tireless work. These men and women are true public servants who for months have shown up every day with a desire for one thing, and that is to seek the truth. We decided while we would examine materials gathered by LMPD's Public Integrity Unit, we would need to conduct our own independent investigation and start from scratch in the interest of thoroughness, fairness, and finding the truth. There was no video or body camera footage of the officers' attempted execution of a search warrant at Ms. Taylor's residence. Video footage begins at the point that area patrol officers arrive at the location. Therefore, the sequence of events from March 13th had to be pieced together through ballistics evidence, 911 calls, police radio traffic, and interviews. We utilized information from the Kentucky State Police, local medical examiners, as well as working with the FBI crime lab in Quantico to secure a trajectory analysis and ballistics report. Our team conducted interviews in this case and spent thousands of hours examining all of the available evidence. We concluded our last interview in this case this past Friday and began our grand jury presentation on Monday. As long as the case is making its way through our legal system, I can only speak in general terms about our independent investigation and findings. As the prosecutor, I am prohibited by the Kentucky Rules of Professional Conduct from making public comments that could in any way prejudice this case as it moves forward. Each state has different rules about what prosecutors can and cannot say. The Kentucky rules are clear that I'm prohibited from making comments that could sway public opinion or heighten public condemnation of those involved in the case. These are crucial rules to ensure due process under the Constitution. When prosecutors prematurely release information about the case to the public, it can risk justice by poisoning the jury pool, violating the accused's rights to a fair trial, and even jeopardizing the final verdict. The success of our legal system is predicated on the principle that the accused is innocent until proven guilty. Despite passions, opinions, and desire for every detail to be known, the rule of law must apply. Justice must be done. In the early morning hours of March 13th, officers from LMPD executed a search warrant at 3003 Springfield Drive, apartment 4. This was Miss Breonna Taylor's residence. The officers were advised by superiors to knock and announce their presence in serving this specific search warrant. The scope of our investigation did not include the obtainment of that warrant by LMPD's Criminal Interdiction Division. Federal law enforcement partners are conducting that investigation. Sergeant Mattingly and Detectives Cosgrove and Hankinson had no known involvement in the preceding investigation or obtainment of the search warrant. They were called into duty as extra personnel to effectuate the service of the search warrant. They only had information conveyed to them during their prior briefing. Evidence shows that officers both knocked and announced their presence at the apartment. The officers' statements about their announcement are corroborated by an independent witness who was near in proximity to apartment 4. In other words, the warrant
Please stay
was not
tuned.
served.
We will have body
No
cam,
warrant.
911 calls, and everything
Officers
following the
were
press
unable
conference.
to get anyone to answer or open the door to apartment 4. The decision was made to breach the door. After breaching the door, Sergeant Mattingly was the first and only officer to enter the residence. Sergeant Mattingly identified 2 individuals standing beside one another at the end of the hall, a male and a female. In his statement, he says that the male was holding a gun, arms extended in a shooting stance. Sergeant Mattingly saw the man's gun fire, heard a boom, and immediately knew he was shot as a result of feeling heat in his upper thigh. Kenneth Walker fired the shot that hit Sergeant Mattingly, and there is no evidence to support that Sergeant Mattingly was hit by friendly fire from other officers. Mr. Walker admitted that he fired one shot and was the first to shoot. In addition to all the testimony, the ballistics report shows that the round that struck Sergeant Mattingly was fired from a 9mm handgun. The LMPD officers fired 40 caliber handguns. Sergeant Mattingly returned fire down the hallway. Mattingly fired 6 shots. Almost simultaneously, Detective Cosgrove, also in the doorway, shot 16 times. This all took place in a matter of seconds. In total, 6 bullets struck Ms. Taylor. Medical evidence obtained by our team indicates that only 1 shot was fatal. Further medical evidence shows that Ms. Taylor would have died from the fatal shot within a few seconds to 2 minutes after being struck. Detective Hankinson fired his weapon 10 times, including from an outside sliding glass door and through a bedroom window. Some bullets traveled through apartment 4 and into apartment 3 before some exited that apartment. At the time, 3 residents of apartment 3 were at home, including a male, a pregnant female, and a child. There is no conclusive evidence that any bullets fired from Detective Hankinson's weapon struck Ms. Taylor. The KSP ballistics analysis did not identify which of the 3 officers fired the fatal shot. After receiving that information, I asked the FBI crime lab to conduct its own analysis to see if they reached the same results. The FBI ballistics analysis concluded the fatal shot was fired by Detective Cosgrove. Our office looked at both reports to determine if there were major differences in the procedures used by each lab that would have led the FBI to identify who fired the fatal shot. Both law enforcement agencies use similar equipment and analysis, and each lab is highly respected for their work. There was nothing our investigators could point to, nor anything provided by the respective agencies, that directly explains why one lab made the call while another did not. I think it is worth repeating again that our investigation found that Mattingly and Cosgrove were justified in their use of force after having been fired upon by Kenneth Walker. Secondary to this justification, the KSP and FBI ballistics analysis reached different conclusions, creating a reasonable doubt in the evidence about who fired the fatal shot. I certainly understand the public's desire for answers, and many have questioned the length of the investigation. Simply put, we had to try every means necessary to determine who fired the fatal shot before the investigation could be completed. With a thorough and complete knowledge of all evidence collected in this case, lawyers with our Office of Special Prosecutions presented the findings of our independent investigation before a grand jury comprised of Jefferson County residents beginning on Monday and concluding today. In Fletcher v. Graham, the Kentucky Supreme Court said that the grand jury has competing but balanced functions. On the one hand, its purpose is to investigate allegations of criminal conduct and determine if there is probable cause to believe that a crime has been committed. On the other, the grand jury serves to protect the public against unfounded criminal prosecutions where probable cause is lacking. The grand jury is unique in our criminal justice system because it operates independent of the court and the prosecutor. The hallmark of the grand jury is its independence from outside influence. This independence is necessary to ensure that justice is done both for the victims and for the accused. After hearing the evidence from our team of prosecutors, the grand jury voted to return an indictment against Detective Hankinson for 3 counts of wanton endangerment for wantonly placing the 3 individuals in apartment 3 in danger of serious physical injury or death. The charge of wanton endangerment in the first degree is a Class D felony, and if found guilty, the accused can serve up to 5 years for each count. Kentucky law states that a person is guilty of wanton endangerment in the first degree when, under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to the value of human life, he wantonly engages in conduct which creates a substantial danger of death or serious physical injury to another person. My office is prepared to prove these charges at trial. However, it's important to note that he is presumed innocent until proven guilty. During the last 6 months, we've all heard mention of possible charges that could be brought in this case. It's important to understand that all of the charges that have been mentioned have specific meanings and ramifications. Criminal homicide encompasses the taking of a life by another. While there are 6 possible homicide charges under Kentucky law, these charges are not applicable to the facts before us because our investigation showed, and the grand jury agreed, that Mattingly and Cosgrove were justified in the return of deadly fire after having been fired upon by Kenneth Walker. Let me state that again. According to Kentucky law, the use of force by Mattingly and Cosgrove was justified to protect themselves. This justification bars us from pursuing criminal charges in Miss Breonna Taylor's death. The truth is now before us. The facts have been examined, and a grand jury comprised of our peers and fellow citizens has made a decision. Justice is not often easy. It does not fit the mold of public opinion, and it does not conform to shifting standards. It answers only to the facts and to the law. With this in mind, we must now ask ourselves, where do we go from here? Will we continue to prosecute the charges brought in this case as it now proceeds through the justice system and moves to trial? That is our responsibility. And this will be done while the FBI continues its investigation into violations, potential violations of federal law. I know that not everyone will be satisfied with the charges we've reported today. My team set out to investigate the circumstances surrounding Ms. Taylor's death. We did it with a singular goal in mind, pursuing the truth. Kentuckians deserve no less. The city of Louisville deserves no less. Every person has an idea of what they think justice is. My role as special prosecutor in this case is to set aside everything in pursuit of the truth. My job is to present the facts to the grand jury, and the grand jury then applies those facts to the law. If we simply act on emotion or outrage, there is no justice. Mob justice is not justice. Justice sought by violence is not justice. It just becomes revenge. And in our system, criminal justice isn't the quest for revenge. It's the quest for truth, evidence, and facts, and the use of that truth as we fairly apply our laws. Our reaction to the truth.
One
today
officer has been
is the
indicted.
kind of society
Ed,
we
you're
want
asking
to
for an
be.
update, quick update.
We really want truth.
Has been
We
indicted by
want
a grand
truth
jury on 3 counts of wanton
fits
endangerment in the
our
first
narrative.
degree. Brett
We
Higginson,
want the facts.
former Louisville
We
police
consent to
officer.
blindly
The other
accept
2 officers
our own version of
unfounded.
events. We as a community must make this decision. I understand that Ms. Breonna Taylor's death has become a part of a national story and conversation. But we must also remember the facts and the collection of evidence in this case are different than cases elsewhere in the country. Each is unique and cannot be compared. There will be celebrities, influencers, and activists who, having never lived in Kentucky, will try to tell us how to feel, suggesting they understand the facts of this case and that they know our community and the Commonwealth better than we do. But they don't. Let's not give in to their attempts to influence our thinking or capture our emotions. At the end of the day, it is up to us. We live here together. We work here and raise our families here together. I urge those protesting on the streets to remember this. Peaceful protests are your right as an American citizen. Instigating violence and destruction are not. I've spoken with both Mayor Fisher and Governor Beshears in the days leading up to this announcement, and I urge them to do what is necessary to maintain law and order and to protect our cities and our people. We have a long road ahead, both as we pursue this case through the criminal system and as we address the pain in the Louisville community. I'm committed to being part of the healing process. When tragedy occurs, we must mourn. We must also do everything we can to prevent it from happening again. Today, consistent with that view, I'm announcing that I will create a task force to review the process for securing, reviewing, and executing search warrants in Kentucky. The task force will consist of a variety of stakeholders, including citizens, members from the law enforcement community, representatives from the judiciary, defense attorneys, and elected leaders. I'll be issuing an executive order in the coming days to create this task force. I believe conducting a top-to-bottom review of the search warrant process is necessary to determine if changes are required and establish best practices. You have my word that I will also vigorously prosecute the criminal charges announced today. I can assure you that my team of prosecutors will continue to give this case their attention and time. We'll also continue to support the good men and women of our law enforcement community. who put their lives on the line every day to protect and to serve. And I will fight for those across our state who feel like their voice isn't heard, who feel marginalized, judged, and powerless to bring about change. In a world that is forcing many of us to pick a side, I choose the side of justice. I choose the side of truth. I choose a path that moves the Commonwealth forward and toward healing. You have that choice as well. Let's make it together. Thank you, and God bless. I'll now take some questions. I won't get into the specifics of the makeup of the grand jury.
Yeah, you mentioned that Breonna Taylor was hit by 6 bullets. You identified the one that killed her. Who shot the other 5 bullets, and did any of Hankins' bullets hit Ms. Taylor?
Based on the evidence, there's nothing conclusive to say that Detective Hankinson's, any of his bullets hit Ms. Taylor.
I'm just curious,
Yes, sir.
what your message would be to the family and those who support her in the community, because based on what you're saying today, the grand jury basically found that none of the officers involved are directly responsible for Breonna Taylor's death.
Well, as I said from the beginning, and I appreciate that question, this is a tragedy. And sometimes the law, the criminal law, is not adequate to respond to a tragedy. And I fully acknowledge that, and I know many that are watching today and those that are listening recognize that as well. But the response is that the grand jury was given all of the evidence, presented all of the information, and ultimately made the determination that Detective Hankinson was the one to be indicted.
To be clear, did your special prosecutors make a recommendation to the grand jury?
Grand jury proceedings are secret, and so I'm not going to get into the specifics of details about that proceeding. What I will say is that we presented all of the information, and they ultimately made a determination about whether to charge. In this instance, they decided to indict Detective Hankinson.
One question.
I'm sorry, say that again?
When it comes to officers firing back in self-defense, do you think the current state law needs to be changed with cases like this?
Well, what my role as the special prosecutor in this case was to provide the information and facts to the grand jury. Detective Cosgrove and Sergeant Mattingly were justified in returning fire because they were fired upon. I'll leave it to others to make determinations. We have vigorous self-defense laws in this state, and that is something that existed prior to this case. I'll let others make judgments about that. Yes, sir.
One big question surrounding this case is whether or not the officers knocked and announced their presence. Talk about the evidence that you came to that they did announce their presence.
Yes, the statements that were made by officers there the night or the morning of March 13th show that they did knock and announce. The important point here is that information was corroborated by another witness who was in close proximity to apartment 4, who corroborated that information and said that there was a knocking and announcing by the officers.
Was the witness a civilian or a law enforcement?
The witness was a civilian.
If a wanton engagement takes place while there is a death involved, would that not be a manslaughter charge? If there was a death that occurred during a wanton engagement?
Well, Chris, to your question, I think it, again, is important to step back and recognize that what we did was uncover all the information and facts related to the morning of March 13th, and then provided that information to the grand jury. The grand jury had every piece of detail needed to make their assessment and their judgments. And ultimately, their conclusion was that the decision needed to be made to indict Mr. Hankinson.
Mr. Cameron, Rukmini Kalimaki with the New York Times. Right here,
I'm
sir.
sorry, yes, ma'am.
Hi, 2 questions for you. Number 1, you said that she was shot 6 times, yet her death certificate says 5. Can you please explain the discrepancy? And the second thing is, journalists in this room, myself included, have taken apart that apartment complex looking for witnesses to the point that you made about the knocking and announcing. Of a dozen witnesses that I spoke to, only one, a man who was directly upstairs, heard them announce. Do you think that's enough in the middle of the night when somebody is asleep for just one person in a tight-knit apartment block to have heard that? Is that a sufficient way of announcing?
Well, let me try to answer your second question first. Your question was, it is enough for me. I think the more pertinent question is, what was the evidence provided to the grand jury? What was sufficient for their purposes? They got to hear and listen to all the testimony and made the determination that Detective Hankinson was the one that needed to be indicted, knowing all of the relative points that you made. As to your first question, can you repeat it one more time?
Her death certificate says 5, and yet you are saying 6. Today's the first time I'm hearing 6.
Yes. So there is a bullet that was lodged, and bullet might be too generous a term. There was an object that was lodged into one of her feet, and so that is what is being referred to as the 6th, I guess, projectile.
Are you going to release the full?
Joe?
Are you going to release the full grand jury report?
Can you say that one more time?
Are you going to release the full grand jury report?
Well, I am right now, because there is a pending indictment. I think it is our practice, and because there is an ongoing FBI investigation, to revisit that question. But at this point, I don't think it's appropriate for us to release any information.
And just for clarification, you said that Hankinson fired 10 times from the outside into apartment 4 and into apartment 3, with no conclusive evidence any of those shots hit Caleb. Can you expand on that just a little bit more?
Well, that is what the evidence shows, is that there was nothing conclusive to demonstrate that any of his bullets hit.
Would that leave the door open for the fact that maybe one of his shots did hit her? Or?
Well, again, all the evidence was given to the grand jury, and they made the decision that wanton endangerment was the charge to file or to indict against Mr. Hankinson.
Okay, and thank you.
Yes, Wendy. Well, your last question about providing information. In any investigation, criminal investigation, the best practice, and this is whether on the state or federal level, is to not make too many specific comments about the investigation because you do not want to compromise that investigation. There are also ethical considerations as investigators and prosecutors that we're responsible to abide by as well. Some of those obligations continue now because we have a responsibility to pursue the prosecution against Detective Hankinson. It's my judgment very early on that we needed to take this case in the Attorney General's office. As you know, the Commonwealth's attorney was conflicted out of this case because of another matter that he was pursuing. I could have farmed the case out to another Commonwealth's attorney in one of our 120 counties. Instead, I did not do that because the resources that we have to bring to bear and the relationships that we have with our federal partners, in my judgment, were needed to uncover the truth in this case. And part of the reason the investigation took so long is because we needed to make sure that we were doing a thorough job of looking at all the facts and gathering all the materials, interviewing witnesses, making sure that all of our people felt confident in their presentation to the grand jury. I will remind you, as late as Friday, we were still interviewing people in this case. And so the length of it is because this case deserved thorough and fair analysis. That was needed and deserved by Breonna and by her family, for the officers involved, for the community of Louisville, and for the Commonwealth. We needed to have a thorough investigation. We also got the FBI involved in terms of the ballistics report. We needed additional, their ability to scrutinize and make an independent assessment as well. And so the length of the investigation was a reflection, I hope people understand, of how important it was that we got this right. We didn't want to rush it, and we did not. And I'm grateful to the team that is behind me for the work that they did. Look, over 200 years of combined experience. These are prosecutors and investigators who don't care about political distinctions, don't care about influence in any particular regard. What they care about is the truth, and we presented that to the grand jury.
Sir, sorry.
I'm sorry. I won't get into what our private conversation was. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. What do you say to people who say this is just another example of the Black community not getting full justice? And what specifically do you plan to do to calm a community that's long been hurting? And do you understand that anger that people might feel?
I certainly understand the pain that has been brought about by the tragic loss of Ms. Taylor. I understand that as a Attorney General who is responsible for all 120 counties in terms of being the chief legal officer, the chief law enforcement officer. I understand that. I understand that as a Black man, how painful this is. And which is why it was so incredibly important for make sure that we did everything we possibly could to uncover every fact. And I know, look, this team, myself, the members of the representatives of the Attorney General's office have taken a lot of criticism and scrutiny. But that scrutiny in many ways was misplaced because there was not a day that people in this office didn't go to sleep thinking about this case, and it wasn't a day where the first thing on our minds is getting to the truth in this case. And obviously, again, the criminal law is not meant to respond to every sorrow and grief, and that is true here. But my heart breaks for the loss of Ms. Taylor, and I've said that repeatedly. My mother, if something was to happen to me, would find it very hard. And I've seen that pain on Ms. Palmer's face. I've seen that pain in the community. And what our responsibility in the AG's office was to make sure that we uncovered every fact, that we utilized every resource that we could bring to bear to uncover the facts and the truth, and that's ultimately what we presented to the grand jury. On the question of what I'm going to do, I've talked to partners in the community about helping to be a constructive member of any conversations moving forward. I recognize in my remarks, I mentioned the fact that we'll be establishing a task force in the coming days ahead to look at best practices for warrants. So there is a lot that I can do in this platform to help.
Okay. Sir, this is Maria Sacchetti with the Washington Post. Just had a couple of quick questions,
I
please.
hear your voice. Okay.
Hi,
Yes, ma'am.
sorry, over
No,
here in
that's
the
okay.
back. Just wanted to double check. Did the grand jury ever consider the charges of manslaughter, reckless homicide? And if not, could you please explain why? And do you anticipate any other charges in this case?
I apologize. Could you say that a little louder?
Sure.
I think I got...
Sure. Did the grand jury ever consider manslaughter or reckless homicide or those kinds of charges? And if not, please explain why. And do you anticipate any other charges, or is this it?
I won't get into the specifics again of the proceedings themselves are secret, but what I will say is that our team walked them through every homicide offense and also presented all of the information that was available to the grand jury, and then the grand jury was ultimately the one that made the decision about indicting Detective Hankinson for wanton endangerment. I think that in terms of what happened the wee hours of March 13th, in terms of that particular or specific date and what happened that night in the apartment, I think it is unlikely that there will be any additional prosecutions that come from that event itself.
Attorney General, so can you go into the confusion over the fatal shot that was fired and kind of what the issue was there in terms of determining that? And then also, did you present the grand jury with any charges against Mattingly and Cosgrove?
Well, so as to your first question, what I think you asked about was
Confusion over the fatal shot.
yes, the reports that were provided to us by the Kentucky State Police and then the FBI as it relates to ballistics. So initially we got the report from Kentucky State Police and it was inconclusive about making a determination into that fatal shot. And so again, with the relationships that we have with our federal law enforcement community, and namely the FBI, I thought it imperative that we utilize that resource. And so they undertook an independent analysis and review of and conducted or provided a ballistics report. There is nothing that this team was able to glean suggesting that there was an objective reason for why FBI was able to conclusively or definitively state that Mr. Cosgrove fired the fatal shot. Both, again, KSP, their lab, well-regarded, well-respected, FBI, equally regarded and respected. That said, it certainly creates some issue in terms of providing that information to the grand jury and providing that at any subsequent prosecution. And so it was, from our judgment, important to provide both of those to the grand jury and then ultimately let them make a determination about what to do with that information.
And were they presented with
Yes,
charges for Mattingly or Cosgrove?
I'm sorry.
Mattingly and Cosgrove.
Say
Were
that
they
again.
presented with any charges for Mattingly or Cosgrove?
Well, what I will say is that they were walked through all the homicide offenses, and with that information and the information and facts that were provided to them that we uncovered in our investigation, they made the determination that Detective Hankinson was the one that needed to be indicted here. Yes, ma'am.
General Cameron, just a couple questions. First of all, did Catholic not comply at all in Kenneth Walker's defense of the song? The second question is, could you give me an idea of the percentage of people who will cover on the team of investigators presented to the grand jury?
So what I will say is there's obviously I don't want to get into the proceedings related to Mr. Walker. That's a separate, so I'm not going to have any comment on that. This team behind me presented to the grand jury. And your other question was about the racial makeup of? Well, I'm black, and I speak for the entire department. And I hope that will satisfy that question. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
I know that you said the investigation has obviously taken months and it was presented to the grand jury Monday. Can you tell us, when did the grand jury actually, how long did they deliberate? Did they begin on Monday or did they begin Tuesday? And that was of this week, correct?
The grand jury was presented with the information today. I won't get into the specifics of when they began their deliberations, but I will say that they started early Monday and concluded sometime before noon. And so they heard everything they needed to hear. We didn't withhold anything from them. And I hope that satisfies your question.
General, can you tell me a little bit more about this task force? You know, Senate President Stivers and Representative Scott are introducing warrant bills for the next legislative session. Are they going to be on this task force perchance? And will you be taking some of the information from the bills they pre-file to work with on this?
Well, I don't want to put, obviously, I don't want to put, obviously, the cart before the horse, but I did mention in the remarks that we are certainly going to have elected leaders on this task force, and I imagine that some of the policy questions and some of the policy proposals that have already been put forward and have entered into the public conversation will be a part of this task force. But I want to make sure that people recognize that this task force is being established not to demonize any one side or any one department or agency. I think it's a healthy thing for the Attorney General from time to time to be a part of a conversation with all 120 counties. I'm not talking or singling out any county specifically, but with all 120 counties about best practices that can be utilized. I had a recent conversation with somebody that said there is always room for improvement. I think that's important in any industry, important in any job. And so as part of my role as the Attorney General, I certainly recognize the part I have to play in making sure that all of our systems in government are improved upon, whether it be because of a particular matter that occurred or because from time to time it's just the responsible thing to do.
Did any of the officers
I'm
ask?
sorry, Joe.
Yeah. Did any of the officers ask to testify or present evidence to the grand jury, and were any allowed to?
Well, what I'll say on that is, again, I don't want to get into the specifics, but testimony was heard by the grand jury of all sorts of witnesses and folks. And so, again, all relevant information was provided to the grand jury for them to make their assessment. Yes, sir.
When you look at the analysis of the path of the bullets, how was it that Kenneth Walker, who fired the shot at the officers, was not hit, and Breonna Taylor was hit so many times?
Well, that's part of the tragedy here. And again, I don't want to get into the specifics, but the fact that she was hit breaks my heart, and it breaks the collective heart of all the country. But I don't want to get, because we have now a open prosecution, I don't want to get too into the details of the trajectories themselves.
Two follow-up questions. One, I understand that the names of grand jurors aren't released, but what rule or standard prevents you from releasing the racial and gender makeup of the grand jury? And number two, you've mentioned that Cosgrove fired the fatal shot, but could you clarify how many shots in all that hit Ms. Taylor were fired by Mattingly, and how many shots that hit Ms. Taylor were fired by Cosgrove?
Well, as to the last question, inconclusive in terms of how many shots from each officer. We weren't able to identify with that level of specificity. As to the question about the makeup of the grand jury, we might be able to, I need to confirm on that front about. Yeah, you know, the fact that this has received so much scrutiny, I think it'd be inappropriate for me to share the information about the makeup of the grand jury, just to the extent I can protect them.
Will you release the investigative file or recommend that LMPD release it?
Well, look, and the role that we now have is to pursue the ongoing prosecution against Detective Hankinson. And so I think it'd be irresponsible at this juncture for this office to release any sort of file, again, because we have this ongoing prosecution. And I'm not going to comment on, and I think I certainly shouldn't be recommending, again, because of the ongoing prosecution any sort of recommendation as to relates to a release of a file.
We're going to have time for 2 more questions.
Oh, Daniel, okay.
You advise that people not be influenced by outside people from other states. Does that diminish the actual claim that people are doing throughout the state?
Well, I certainly don't think that whether it's the grand jury or our responsibility as the investigators or prosecutors, it's to find the truth. And so when folks from outside of the Commonwealth suggest or make their preferences or their opinions known, it should have no bearing on our role as prosecutor and as investigator and fact finder. Even with folks within the Commonwealth, again, this is a tragedy. I don't want to lose sight of that, but we do have a responsibility to look at the facts as they are, and we can't be in the business. I don't think we want a justice system that is in the business of fashioning facts or laws to a particular narrative. We have to be in the business of presenting the information to the grand jury and ultimately allowing them to make a decision about what to do subsequently.
Last question.
Yes, ma'am. Far in the back. I apologize. Actually, we'll take these last 2 here. Okay. So either one can start. Sorry.
I apologize. Thank you very much, sir. I wanted to ask if you, if you believe personally that someone should have been charged with homicide or one of the similar charges in this case, and if you could please walk us through what happened after the officers knocked on the door. Did they hear an answer? How long did they wait before everything erupted? But both of those questions, please, and thank you very much.
As to your first question, again, this is about what the grand jury decided. One of the misconceptions out there is that the Attorney General's office was in the business of making charges, and that's just simply not the case under Kentucky law. Our role is to present the information to the grand jury. We dispense with that responsibility. We did it after a protracted investigation that uncovered all of the facts. That was our role. That was our responsibility. And we presented everything to the grand jury for them to ultimately make a judgment about what to do next. And in this case, in this instant, they decided to indict Detective Hankinson. As to your other question about what was provided to the grand jury, I can't get into the details of the specifics on that particular issue. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. In the beginning, you said that you spoke with Breonna Taylor's family today. I know you can't tell us word for word what they said to you, but how was the news received?
Well, it was a hard meeting, and I won't go any further. I won't elaborate. But it was a difficult meeting, and look, when I ran for this office, I ran because I had some singular ideas in mind, and you never know exactly what issues you'll be presented with and what challenges you'll be presented with. And today was one of those challenges, to have to sit in that room and provide the information to Ms. Palmer and to other members of the Taylor family. It's been a difficult day. This is a difficult day for everyone standing up here. This is a difficult day for those here that have to report this. And it's a very difficult day for Louisville, all of the Commonwealth, all of the country. I recognize that. And I certainly recognize the responsibility that I have to help in the healing process. As I noted in my remarks, I hope that those that are home watching, those that perhaps have ideas about being angry or pained by this decision, I hope we will respond in a manner that respects our First Amendment rights, but also respects our responsibility as the Bible talks about loving our neighbors, and that we can do so keeping Breonna Taylor's legacy in mind, but also in a way that respects our Louisville, our city, a city I live in, that respects all of our communities. So again, this is a hard day. I am under no illusion that it is not. And all I can offer is that our office uncovered every fact that was relevant to the wee hours, the morning hours of March 13th. We provided that information to the grand jury, and you all now, whether you're sitting here or whether you're at home, know the results of that process. And now we have the responsibility to prosecute that indictment, move forward in that matter. But all of us have a responsibility to work together, to find common ground, to find ways to love one another, and just be good neighbors. And so that's what I implore as you all report on this in a responsible manner. That's what I implore those that are watching on television, is that we all have the responsibility of coming together now. I hope that you will take that charge seriously. Our governor likes to talk about Team Kentucky, and I believe him earnestly in that charge. And I hope that that extends to the results that were issued here today, and I hope that extends to all of our neighbors and all of our communities. Thank you, and God bless.
All right, everybody. We are back. We're live. For those who don't know, I got a lot of questions in the chat. We just got the verdict right there. I do want to mention one really quick important thing. What also happened this month was Breonna Taylor family received a $12 million settlement in this case. In the aftermath of the botched police raid in which Mrs. Taylor was killed. Here it is right here. So I know there was a couple questions about that. We're going to break down everything. This happened in March and became a big story in May. 26-year-old emergency room technician in a botched drug raid. Before the Attorney General made their decision, which they made today, the family of Breonna Taylor received a $12 million settlement. So I am going to bring No Name and Taco Josh. Taco, thank you for being so patient waiting.
Not a problem.
What's your thoughts on everything? Break it down for me.
I mean, obviously the grand jury got, all the information that they could and made the charge that they felt could stick. And going off of, Teresa put in, what the charge entailed, and reading it, it's a charge that I think has a good chance of getting that officer getting a guilty plea. A lot of times you see the DA get a charge that that the public wants, and it's an overcharge, and then you get a not guilty plea, and it just creates more chaos.
So I want to play.
Let me say Taco is right, first of all. The same thing they did in George Floyd shit. They overcharged those guys, and they're going to get off. At least 3 of them. So Taco's right.
Is it just me, or is there like a...
Holy cow, Joe agreed with me.
Where am I getting this noise? I'm hearing this alarm noise in my head right now. Oh, this started to play. Wow, that's a helicopter cam. That's why it's in my fucking head. All right, so let me go. I was going to show the body cam, but I'm sure, Joe, you've kind of alluded to this already. This is what's happening live. The decision has been made, and
grr, baby.
Yeah, this is so I kind of want to get your thoughts on everything you just saw, and welcome to us on Show Live today.
And thank you for that, Sancho. You're always a fucking gentleman. I love you. And and I hope you go live again tonight. I hope you do this shit again tonight and get more people on.
That was the plan. The plan was for it to be tonight, but it broke. It broke earlier than a lot of people expected in it. I was kind of talking to some local media down there, and they were expecting this to come around 7, 8 o'clock. They wanted to get ahead of it by making the announcement during the day because of what's happening right now during the day. Things are a lot easier to control in light compared to dark, and that's why this
Yes,
announcement didn't come when it was expected later on in the afternoon.
that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense, right? Everybody would have tore shit up immediately. You're right. Here's my fucking issue. This is why I'm one of the reasons, one of the many reasons I'm so mad, is that this decision has nothing to do with Breonna. This guy is being charged for shooting bullets that went through a wall and endangering the people next door. This has nothing to do with Breonna and her guy. That's the first reason I'm so fucking furious. Her name never even came up in the fucking indictment. They're told this means you're allowed to get away with fucking murder. Just be careful of your fucking background shots. We're not giving you shit about the murder itself. Just be careful of your background shots. That's all I see here, and I'm furious.
I think she was included in the background shots.
They gave the initials, none with BT. They gave the initials of those who were put in danger, none with BT.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
they're probably
God.
going to use. I think the defense is obviously, or the prosecution's obviously going to use Breonna Taylor as part of that.
And undoubtedly they'll win. And Taco, I'm gonna need you today. I mean, job, fuck, not Taco. Sancho, I'm sorry. I'm gonna need you to do that love me shit today because I am in a mood. I'm gonna need that shit today.
I think a situation like this hits close to home to you, which is why you're, with all due respect, and I know you don't, you're a pride motherfucker, but you're hitting your feels right now, which is understandable for you to have a reaction like you're having, because this hits close to your home. This hits
It's
close
watery.
to home.
My
Yeah.
eyes are watery, Sancho.
I will never tell you to not express how you feel. I wanted your reaction to this because I wanted your raw reaction to this. And it's one of those things where there's always, I agree with Joe, I don't agree with Joe, but at the very least people are talking and you're giving your opinion, so it's kind of a win-win when it comes to this. And this
Yes,
absolutely hits close to home to you. So I don't want you to feel like you're being held back by me at all, which is why I've been going on mute when you talk, and I will right now.
Well, thank you for that, but I will need my fucking friends right now. Go ahead, Taco.
Is the officer that was indicted, is he the one that fired the 16 shots?
6 shots.
Yeah, he's not the one that hit Breonna, though, right?
Yeah, he's the one that hit
the guy who hit
killed her.
Breonna is not indicted. The guy Taco talking about that shot up walls and shit is the one indicted.
So let's kind of break down this video.
No, they indicted the one that got the kill shot.
Right.
Okay, thank you for that.
A little over a year ago, Breonna was killed during a police raid, carried out a raid. So let me kind of blow this up so everyone can see it. This is the only footage we have of the incident.
Busy says it's not the one who shot the fatal shot.
They said it was the one that did the kill shot.
The warrant for their home was based on evidence, including complaint of someone growing and selling marijuana there, which was filed before Daughtry and his family even. Vice News has learned that the 5 of the cops who raided the Daughtry family were also involved with the raid that killed Taylor. This unredacted body cam footage obtained by Vice News shows. Don't fucking copyright strike me. I got a feeling of this shit now. This is an incident in October. This is not the incident in March.
I got the door left. Got to stare. Bang in. Hey, police, search warrant. Hey, let me see your hands. You got that? I got one. Come to the sound of my voice.
So this occurred in 2018. This body cam, as we showed before in the description leading up to it. This is not related to that, but it's kind of getting to a point where
This is a good example. Do a lot of these no-knock warrants they serve, they haven't. A lot of these no-knocks, they haven't purchased drugs at that location in months, and they still go there and knock on the door. It'd be new people living there.
Right. One of Daughtry's daughters, Zariah, said she thought someone was breaking into their home. It's just so she ran out the back door to try to get to the grandmother's house next door to call police. So they're pretty much describing how no-knock warrants, how something like this is being done with the smashing, grabbing, similar to a burglary. And I think that's why they're
I'm
showing
told
this.
Kentucky has outlawed all no-knocks. And once they
Well,
kill someone in Chicago, maybe we'll outlaw them too. Maybe they'll kill someone in your state, Sancho,
right.
and then they'll outlaw them. They're just going to wait for a bunch of people to die first.
Well, that's the biggest thing from the Attorney General's aspect is there, he made the announcement that they are going to, go over the no-knock policy with a fine-tooth comb and make sure it's done effectively. The issue I'm having, the conundrum I'm having, is a lot of no-knock warrants are for really bad people who need to be caught off guard in order to be apprehended. So if we become extremely lax, we may lose some law enforcement in the process because of the surprise aspect being taken away. That's why it's a conundrum to me, because I never want to expose our law enforcement to getting caught up because that no-knock warrant isn't there anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I'm the opposite. I do, but I'm the opposite, Sancho. I think if it takes 100 cops to die to keep one civilian, they signed up for it. That's the direction it should go until they work it out and get it right. That's the direction I would lean toward.
So that body cam was a botched raid from Louisville
And you're right,
police.
by the way.
And that was
I'm sorry,
17
You're
months
right,
off
by
of
the
the
way.
case.
There is
For
a
me-
way to do this.
For me, a life is a life.
My man, that was nice, Taco. Thank you.
It is 100%. No matter if they, I mean, listen, there's going to
Thank
be
you,
a time.
Taco.
There's
Thank you. I'm angry. Thank you.
There's going to be a time when you need law enforcement. There's going to be a time when they're going to be there for you. We need to respect and understand that they're human beings just like you and me, and they put their pants on the same way you and I do. And
Thank you. Thank you.
I think the anger towards the bad cops is kind of clouding your feelings with the. We talked about this broad brush before, you and I. And when
Undoubtedly.
when you're angry, you have a broad brush, and you know what, dude? You're a human being. You're a human being. You're allowed to have that. I'm a fuck up because I haven't given No Name a chance to speak at all. So I'm gonna hop off on mute, and I'm gonna see what the lady has to say. And Laura Shark, please come up, Laura Shark. Please come up, Laura, too.
No, I don't got nothing to say. I'm just gonna smoke my dope at you.
What's your take on this whole situation? Now, does the cat have an opinion if you don't? I mean, what's your take on all this?
You vote. I saw where you vote. How you voted, No Name. You do have an opinion.
Oh, well, I do not like no-knock warrants, and I do not believe they announce themselves as police. And in that neighborhood, if you get broken into, you probably want your gun handy.
Good
So
girl.
they need to say they are the police. These no-knock warrants are stupid. Who cares that they flush a little cocaine down the toilet?
Right. Good girl. Surround the house. They ain't going no fucking where. I'm with you on that. They worried they're going to get rid of the drugs. That is the main reason, we should say. It's not some rash of people, police knocking on doors and people shooting through walls. That's not some rash of something that's occurring in the U.S. I'm sure it occurs here and there, but not enough where you put everyone's fucking life at risk. It's to make sure they don't flush the drugs, in my opinion.
All right, Joe. Let's role play, shall we?
Okay.
You're law enforcement.
Yes.
You have a warrant that was a no-knock warrant on a known individual who shoots at you. You're a police officer. You have a great heart. You're trying to make a difference in the community and save lives. You're putting your life on the line every single call. That no-knock is now a knock warrant because of the stricter sanctions to a no-knock, and now your life is at a greater risk because instead of pounding the door and preventing this individual from grabbing an AK-47 or grabbing a 9mm or grabbing a shotgun, you, Mr. Cool, your life is at risk because you're knocking like a fucking mailman who couldn't fit the mail in the mailbox. And while you're knocking like a mailman, this individual is shooting a 12-gauge shotgun through the wooden door and you're dead. Rest in peace, Officer Joe Cole. Chew on that.
Okay.
I gotta say thanks. Pierre fixed me. It was
Barry
bugging
with
me.
the-
I was thinking about you.
Go ahead, baby.
I was
I
thinking about Deanna. Thanks, Pierre, for fixing me. The case that I thought it was earlier was
Oh,
different.
okay, okay. All right. Sancho, uh, I do believe there's a way to do that. If you saw that violent guy go in the house, you surrounded, you know he's in there, then I would accept that there may be a place for a no knock. But absent that, I wouldn't even consider it. If
Here's the
if
root of
we've
my
lost
anger.
sight of that guy, if we're not sure he's in there and all of that shit, then we have to put the burden on us to take the chance. We can't be like, oh my God, a cop life is more important than the citizens. We can't do that.
Every life is important. That's the number one thing. Your life, my life, their life, every life is important. No matter what hat they wear, no matter what color of their skin, no matter what gender they have, whatever, what they want to put in their mouth, doesn't matter to me. Every life is important. My point is this: you have to realize and understand the risk that law enforcement puts themselves in on a consistent basis, and that needs to be taken into an account. Now, I'm going to jump on that other side of the fence and say the fact that this was a no-knock warrant over marijuana over a fucking plant is absolutely stupid, absolutely pathetic, and is a problematic. We need to figure out what we're classifying as a no-knock warrant versus what we're not. And the growing and operation of marijuana, isn't one of those things.
Drop a link for Laura, and I absolutely agree. I didn't even know it was over marijuana until you just said that.
So I'm going to play some 911 calls. Viewer discretion is advised on this.
I don't know what's happening. Somebody kicked in the door and shot my girlfriend.
Kenneth Walker is heard crying out Breonna Taylor's name.
Bring oh you said 26. Where was she shot at? I don't know. She's on the ground right now. I don't know.
On the phone with an EMS dispatcher for 2 minutes, he tries to explain what happened.
Help! Oh my God!
Viewer discretion is advised.
What's your name, sir? Is she alert and able to talk to you? No.
The 911 call was shared with WHES 11 by Taylor's family attorney Sam Aguiar. Just minutes later, Mayor Greg Fisher released the audio, calls from neighbors, transcripts, and a timeline of the reports to the public, saying in part, "I have heard the calls from the community to share facts as quickly as possible." In a statement, Sam Aguiar said, "Listening to the call is one of the most difficult things I have ever had to do. It's a shame it took a subpoena for the audio to be shared." According to the computer-aided dispatch timeline, EMS is put on standby for the search warrant around 11 the night before the shooting. Almost 2 hours later, around 12:42 March 13th, EMS is flooded with calls from neighbors reporting gunfire. Then another call on the radio that an officer has been shot.
There was a lot of gunshots. Yeah, I need to get over here. They're shooting out like crazy. Yeah, just get down. Our glass door is shattered, and I understand there's something going on, but I have a 5-year-old in here.
To figure out what was unfolding, some of them tried to take a peek, but said police ordered they go back inside. Last week, Commonwealth Attorney Tom Wine said
This is a
Walker
gang
told
hit.
police
I
during
mean,
his interview he had called his mother before dialing 911.
Look at the
His call
house.
to dispatch disconnects.
I have to
after
talk
Walker
over it
says
to
he
add
has
commentary
go.
so they don't copyright strike me.
Kenneth?
How was he able to call 911?
All you have to do is keep, I'm gonna do some serious fanboying right now. Laura, I'm thrilled to fucking meet you. This is my first time. I've been a fan since I started this shit.
Are you
I
serious?
want to get that out there. I am so
Laura's
fucking
my good buddy,
serious.
Joe.
I tell everybody
Laura's my
that
good
shit.
buddy. Laura's a mod on my channel. She's a good buddy. You know, we talk off air. She's a good buddy of mine, right, Laura?
Two thumbs up for Laura.
Hi. I was just going to say, the copyright thing, all you do is keep a picture on the picture. Just look at
Yeah, I'm still working on that. How are you, and what's your thoughts on all this with the decision of the indictment and everything today?
So, I'm sorry, I just jumped on. I was trying to figure out what the decision was.
So one officer was indicted on multiple counts of wanton endangerment, and the other 2 officers have been cleared of any wrongdoing.
Oh, no.
Yes, nothing on murder, Laura. Wanton endangerment for shooting holes in the wall, and they could have killed someone in the next apartment. Nothing about killing
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Breonna.
So I have to say that I value human life, like more than most people apparently. But I don't. I don't think that. I think we're fighting for justice, not more death. So I don't agree with like 100 officers to die for one to live. But I do think that isolating this incident to that department and it needs a complete like wipe through. Like I'm not. I think that it's obviously a something that's going on inside. It's corrupt. It's not. Who does a raid over freaking marijuana? Like it's legal in most. Like it's legal in my state. So, and I think that also because it needs to be completely like reestablished because exactly there's too many innocent bystanders when you're talking about bullets go through walls easily, and they know that. It's a miracle that nobody else was hurt or killed. In the side by so I think that they needed to all be held accountable. Whoever was there and their boss.
Good girl.
But when it comes to
Good
like
girl.
the kill shot, so what was he charged with?
I'm
that
not
they
even
want-
sure he was charged.
Wanton endangerment.
So not homicide.
Wanton
What
endangerment.
does that mean?
I said wonton, guys. I'm fucking
Oh.
sorry.
I
It's
heard
wanton.
you when you said it. I was,
I'm sorry. This is an impromptu stream. I said the wrong word. It's an A, not an O.
And by the way, Laura, I also believe that 100 criminals should be let free before one innocent person is put in jail.
Okay.
So I'm
Well,
gonna give you
here's
guys
the
the
main-
definition of the wanton endangerment. I keep fucking saying it. Joe, how do you properly
Wanted.
say that? Wanted?
Wanted.
Oh, so like wanted, but wanted. All right,
So they
so
wanted to endanger.
yeah, it's sort of like
Wanton.
that. So
It's spelled the
sorry,
same,
guys.
but it's pronounced wanton.
All right,
It's not-
so fuck it.
Not okay.
I'm just gonna show what it means. That's just so much easier for
Yeah.
me. That word. Hold on, let me zoom in on it, So it's does everybody see that?
Yeah.
So
So he
this fucking-
basically was all
that word endangerment is a person is guilty of.
So he was
A person is guilty of wanton endangerment in the first degree when under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to the value of human life.
Yeah.
He wantonly engages in conduct and creates substantial danger danger of death and serious physical injury to another person, a Class D felony.
So I wonder how they're going to argue because, as you guys said it, there was an officer that basically like switched chiefs of police, and then separately it was the officer that killed her. Right? Is that what you're saying? Like I know that Joe thinks that the person that switched chiefs of police is the only one that was charged, but I'm not sure.
So let me go back to the marijuana conversation. So this is the individual that was the target of the raid. His name was Jamarcus Glover.
Dad's boyfriend, right?
Is not
Who was
no.
already
This was Jamarcus, focus on drug raids, arrested on a warrant. Suspected drug dealer. Police said that ties to Breonna shooting case was arrested in Louisville Thursday morning. 30-year-old was booked just after 11:30 a.m. Glover was a fugitive according to online records who was wanted on drug charges including complicity to trafficking in cocaine and marijuana, as well as complicity to obsession of heroin and cocaine. Police raided Glover's home in March, the same night they raided Breonna Taylor's home. Taylor, a black woman, died after she was shot by police several times. Her shooting has drawn national scrutiny and police throughout the country. Her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, has told police he thought they were being robbed and fired at officers when they rushed in, hitting one of them in the leg. An attempted murder charge against him was dismissed. Okay. So essentially what happened was
he got dismissed, but he got a wanton endangerment.
Right. LMPD Detective Joshua James, who applied for the warrant for Taylor's residence, said Glover, a suspected drug dealer, made frequent trips to Taylor's home and had been receiving packages there. James wrote that he believed Glover may be keeping narcotics in proceeds from the sale of narcotics at Taylor's home. So I don't think it's just the marijuana.
Can I just say that if you look at it like on the legal side, so it's hard to get a jury of, not my peers, but a jury to charge an officer for, I think that I wonder if that is why they chose wanton endangerment, because it's more likely that a jury would find him, or he has already been. Is that what it was? Or is that was just his charge?
That's just the charges.
That was just, he's just been indicted. He hasn't been found guilty, just charged, yeah.
Okay, so I think that might be. I mean, I just hope that that would be why they picked that charge opposed to homicide, or because it's
I
really hard
think
for the
it's a
jury
bit of
to.
I
I
think
think
it's a bit of both things. I think they want those cops to not be charged. It would set a precedent for other cops who do that type of thing. They were
Yeah.
desperate not to have these cops charged, in my opinion.
can I say something?
Yeah.
Of
I
course.
I think I think the other two cops were not charged because they were in the line of fire, and so they are considered self-defense in their fight in their gunshots,
Oh.
especially since the one got shot.
Okay. Yeah, and like it just. I understand that. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
You know, the one got shot, first before any firing even happened, from the cops.
Oh, okay.
So like Jamarcus was the ex-boyfriend of Breonna Taylor, Laura. You were right on that.
Yeah.
And there was a confirmed package that went through, multiple packages, and they thought that merited the no-knock warrant enough to see if they wanted to catch him, of course, so they didn't flush anything, whether it's drugs, money, whatever, and that's why the no-knock warrant was instituted the way it was.
Okay. So
Joni
can I
had a
just say?
good point in
Okay.
chat. Why don't they just catch him in the street or something where
Yeah, I mean, there's that too.
Hey, Joe, it's funny you mentioned Joni because she's right here. Hi, Joni. How are you? Welcome
hey
to our Sun
baby.
Show.
You know, I
No.
Hello. Now I forgot what I was going to say.
You know, the way it looked from the current boyfriend with Breonna was the no-knock warrant. This police department has had a history of botched no-knock warrants, so that's being used against them. We just showed one that was over a year ago that was botched, and essentially they thought that they were being robbed. They thought they were being broken into. If you look what happened in Houston with that whole Tuttle story, it kind of how bad that was fumbled and how 2 lives and a dog was lost because of that. And that was a similar situation. Mistake made, wrong house. Whoops, we have three dead souls because of that. And
Yes.
that's why the anger stems from the Tuttles, in my opinion, for me. But you're also looking at the fact that they thought they were being broken. This is one side of the fence. They thought that they were being broken into, and the boyfriend grabbed his gun and shot an officer in the leg, which merited a whole gunfight galore. Over 20 shots were fired. 6 shots hurt her. Everywhere, neighbors, 5-year-olds, everybody was at risk because of this situation. Everybody around the radius was at risk because bullets do not have GPS.
That's why that division needs to be like just readdressed, restaffed. I mean, their training is obviously.
I'm told it's not just them, Laura. I'm told that many of these no-knocks, they don't actually eye the person, and they might have bought the drugs days, weeks, months prior, and then they get around to serving a warrant. By then, the situation has changed. The kids there that they don't know about, all of these things keep occurring.
I know it does happen, and not just. I'm just saying when we isolate to this incident, and obviously we're on this topic, that department needs to be like looked at with a magnifying glass, and not just looked at. Like something needs to be done within the department. If they're not going to charge the officers, then people need to see and know that division has been either wiped or reestablished. So. But and you somebody was saying like you sign up to be a cop, you have to be, you could die and whatever. And I think that instead of arguing that, maybe argue the fact that if you're going to be a cop, you're going to be held accountable. I think that needs to be embedded in every officer's mind that you can't just go in anywhere willy-nilly. It's not like, oh, everything's a death threat, but everything's an accountability threat.
Yes.
Maybe you want to reconsider your career, because you can't just start shooting into a house over drugs. I don't even care how strong the drug was. Like there are people in the right and the left. I mean, it has. It just boggles my mind that they would act like it doesn't affect people. They go in at 4 or 5 in the morning, as a under the cover because at least people aren't out and about and getting in their way. But there are people at home in bed, It's ridiculous. And there's children, and there's this, and there's so many.
They shot her in her bed.
Yeah, she was in bed. I mean, it really just needs to be ingrained in these officers. No, we don't think you're going to go out there. We don't hope you go out there and die, but you need to know you're going to be held accountable. So maybe all this qualified immunity, all this, oh, okay, well, he's a hero. No, dude, you don't get,
Good
I mean,
girl.
I'm not saying that they don't act like heroes, but they can also be the polar opposite of a hero. And like, that's something they need to understand.
If I wasn't so angry, and I'm still gonna think about this, I think Sancho has a point. If this guy has done something and you eyed
Hold
him
on, Joe.
running into
You're
that
breaking up.
crib and you know he's there, no.
Hold on. Listen, he's complimenting me, and I need clarity when he does that. So, Joe, you're breaking up right now. When I get compliments from anybody, I need clarity and not bad service. So I'm going to try to bring you back up, Joe. You back now? I was right again. Say it again.
So,
Go ahead, Joe.
I think if I wasn't so angry, I'd be falling on Sancho's side. If you saw that violent guy run into that house, I think no knocks and shit. I think I'd fall on his side with that, and I'll have to spend some time thinking about it after I fucking burn Chicago. You hear these fucking sirens? We got helicopters in the air. When I get off with you cats, I'm gonna get into some trouble.
All right, Joan, let's kind of get your thoughts on everything. Pretty much there was an 8-page report that reinforces, however, that Taylor was not the main target of the narcotics investigation, which initially centered around other individuals we've already discussed. The detailed report was released a few months ago. It was Mattingly, the officer who shot at Taylor's apartment, who asked the Postal Service whether Glover was receiving packages at Taylor's apartment. James wrote in the March 12th sworn affidavit for a search warrant that he had verified that Glover was receiving packages at Taylor's home through a postal inspector, pretty much a mail person. A Louisville postal inspector later told WDRB News that wasn't true. Glover listed Taylor's home as his address on a Chase bank account, and a search warrant for the account was executed on March 19th. 6 days after her death, Glover listed Taylor's phone number as his when he filed a complaint against a police officer in February for towing his red Dodge car for a parking violation. Joe, what's your thoughts on everything?
Joan.
Oh, I thought you said Joe. I'm so sorry.
Joan.
Me. Well, this is interesting. I have a lot of questions, though. I don't know anything about this case, so I'm walking in here blind. So I don't know if I can offer a whole lot of commentary, but there's things that I know that they have capability of doing that they're not doing. That seems like they could have solved all this if they just worked smarter, not harder.
Right. I always think that's always the Monday morning quarterback reaction, and I just think the issue is how many more lives are going to be lost, how many more controversies are going to happen in order for this to be fixed. I mean, this situation, to be completely blunt, this situation happened in March, but because of COVID-19, it got buried and became a story. It became more of a story in May because the family went out and did a press conference. Similar to one of the stories I did a few weeks ago about the individual who essentially got asphyxiated laying in the street like naked. That wasn't brought to light until the family did a press conference and brought it to light. And that's the suppression that a lot of people have is they're being duped and tricked to not know things, and they need to know, and they have the right to know, and they're finding out things 4 or 5 months later. You got to think of the built-in anger that presents that suppression.
I think that's why these channels are good, because you know, we're in a group where we love this kind of crap. We love when things are, lies are, and we have another side we see. So I think it's important. Keep doing this stuff. Keep going. I'm listening.
They have a question told for the police here that they will not be going home when that shit is over to get the helmets, and they're putting the helicopters up. Apparently, shit's happening in Chicago too.
Yeah, right before this was announced, the state of Louisville called the state of emergency. Every police vacation has been canceled. Nobody's on vacation. It's all hands on deck in Louisville. They are preparing for chaos tonight. They're preparing for chaos tonight. And you look at Ferguson. I'm sorry, Boo Boo. Say it again.
Get your marshmallows. Things are gonna be burning.
Get your marshmallows. It's gonna be toasty tonight.
That was good. That was cute, No Name. I like it. I'll bring the
Now,
sticks.
I have a question for Joe and Laura. because so for the first two officers, the ones that were in the entryway, after they were shot at, do you feel they were justified in shooting back? And if not, what should they have done?
You want to go first, Joe?
Taco, great question. No, I want you to go first.
Especially since one was.
Here's the thing. I haven't been trained. I can almost assume, I guess, partially the psychology behind the training when an officer is in a gunfight. Basically, I mean, psychologically, I think sometimes training goes out the window. If you're being shot at, you shoot back. Like, I'm not saying they should. It shouldn't. The first, just one, it was obviously like a chain of events that just shouldn't have happened, and then the worst thing happened. I think that it's the reason. It's probably the reason they're not putting charges against them, because it would be really hard to convince a jury that if you're being shot at, you shouldn't shoot back. I mean, that's just the reality of it.
Laura, I love what you said. You just said, I'm not saying it's right, but this is what you do in that situation. I think I would echo your response. I'm not going to say whether it's right or wrong right now, but certainly you go in there, you get shot, you shoot back. You get shot at, you're in the line of fire, you get it too close, you shoot back. I'm not saying it was right. Maybe you shouldn't even been there, you shouldn't have blah, blah, but in the hypothetical he gave us, or the actual occurrence, they were there getting shot at. I think you return fire. You don't ask questions.
And the only other issue I had with what I think Laura was saying was that you had to something about wiping out and redoing all of Louisville's police.
No, that division, that department. That part of it, not that the whole of the police, because it's not like patrol officers are taking in these raids. There's certain divisions within the department.
Yeah.
It's just who the ones that weren't participating, they might have not done what those ones did. So I hate throwing them under the umbrella of guilty by association.
Okay, so they
as auditors,
and then they reapply for that position. I mean, it's not to say that they wouldn't be cops anymore. Like I said, there's divisions within a department. There's several. There's ones that cover sex crimes. There's drugs, this, that, and the other. So that specific one. And usually when you get promoted to those spots, you have to apply. So say they clear it out, that doesn't mean they're not cops anymore. It just means that maybe the good ones should not have a problem reapplying for that, specific, the drug or whatever it was that raided them. It's not as complicated as, it could have been a couple good cops that are it's not like they're not going to be cops anymore, I don't know if that was.
But it's still the same thing as, throwing saying all auditors are bad type thing. If all this, you're saying all in that division are bad or need to be wiped.
But even the good ones were trained the same as the bad ones, right?
I think it's Taco, is this, to use your auditor example analogy, if I'm out there, say, with a bad auditor, and he's out there harassing the people and all of that shit, and they attack him, I would help him fight to get him out of there. But it doesn't mean I'm right, but I think I would do that to help him.
Okay, I don't like when people compare it to the community, because we're not on the same standard. We don't, we don't carry. I can't.
Well, I could compare it to. I could compare it to anything. I
think it's a little. I think it's is an idea that I would throw out there. Whereas, I'm sure that when it came down to it, they can always kind of go through these officers involved in these raids that have been highly, red flags, then those officers in those raids. And if it happens to be a couple good ones that were standing in the back, like I said, they're not going to not be cops anymore. They just have to be reevaluated.
Well, okay. I'll put it like this. When I was in TSA, I was in TSA. In my training class, we had one that stole. And that doesn't mean all of us in the training class were bad. Or that we, had trained, deficiencies, and that we all should have to reapply or anything like that. It's the
Okay.
same as these guys.
Here's the thing, like, you can't compare law enforcement and the dealings with law enforcement. It can't always be compared to something else. You have to, like, allow yourself to look at it for what it is. Like, I mean, that's a really important job too. It's just that we're talking about people's lives. Like, if they're a part of something that is taking lives, and I'm saying, like, they know which of their raids are like red flags. And like I said again, it's like if somebody's stolen your group, it's not to say that I'm saying you should be punished. That's like a way too simple way to look at it. It's the fact that these officers in this specific unit are probably total about give or take 20 maybe in these units, like in these specific specialized units. So like
Yes, or less.
yeah, so like it's not to say that like they won't be customers. Like it wouldn't to say that you wouldn't be a TSA. It just means that certain things need to be reevaluated. I mean, they know that these units are. We're talking about.
Oh shit! I got a guy with a gun a block away. I gotta go.
All right.
Well,
I mean,
and they're
I simplify it by saying, like, oh, well, if it was like this and like some other situation, but like we're talking about a situation that has taken a life. And never mind that, like, not never mind that. Also, and the lives they put in jeopardy that surrounded that unit. Like, they have obviously taken a note from some, like, I don't know, some Wild Wild West movie thinking they can go into a place, no knock and guns a-blazing. Like, you just can't do that. And, like, any logical situation, let's just say there was drugs in there. There was, all this stuff. Maybe that dude was in there. You can't go and shooting like this is like it was a building like apartments on either side. Like it's nuts. So I mean, like I see that you're like almost taking it personally. That I would say that the whole unit, not the whole, needs to be.
I just don't like things being done in broad brushes. That's just my thing.
Okay, so like reevaluated. Could be like it still fall under like individuals being reevaluated. They know who their red flag people are, and they know that they've had things in the past. Was it whatever? How long ago was the last one that it was a botched? They like no knocked a family.
It was a little over a year prior, 17 months prior.
That's not a long time.
and they said during the press conference that they're reevaluating the program and working on changing things.
But I think the frustration from Laura's voice, correct me if I'm wrong, is how many more lives are going to be lost and mistakes going to be made before actually things get done. That's the frustration level. Is how much more bloodshed before change is initiated.
I mean,
when we start shooting back.
You calm down. You calm down up there. I know you miss me, but you need to calm down over there with that.
I don't want anyone shooting. That's the main thing.
Like I said before, I value humans incredibly more than most people apparently. But like, I'm thinking fight for justice, not more death. Yeah, like I think me saying that is me easier saying it than obviously when it would come down to the complexities of what that would mean. Yeah, no, it wouldn't be completely wiped out.
Well, it's a case by case basis, and that's the big thing that I'm stressing is like this is an absolute case by case basis, but we have to reevaluate the no knock warrants. We have to reevaluate the kind of cases that are attached to those no knock warrants, and I think that's absolutely necessary. It's frustrating when you're seeing it happen 17 months prior, and then it happened again, and then this happened in March, Laura, and we didn't know about it until May.
Yeah.
That's the frustration level. That's the suppression level. I mean, we have a live feed going on right now that I'm showing. The marches
I'm really worried for that city and all the other cities because it happens in Chicago or something, it'll still go down in LA and every
But you also
I worry like I don't know.
No, there's definitely a residual effect. These protests tonight aren't just going to happen in Kentucky. They're going to happen in where you are, where I am. There's a lot of people mad about this right now, about the
And there's
one
going to be
indictment.
people that get hurt and arrested and or
Right.
killed,
And lives
probably,
lost.
Right.
lives lost, and it just breaks my heart that like this is that this is even a situation because it's easy to say they're rioting or they're bad
Right.
people, but like I've been to the protests and like I can say there's a big difference between like the protesters in like Portland, Oregon than there are here.
Right.
Like you can kind of get a like the Dijon Keezy protest I was just at. I really felt like it was a community pain. Like there was more mourning than anything. Like it was almost like a
Right.
unique thing because they didn't riot, they didn't loot, they didn't break in anything. Although they were treated as they were Antifa, but they
Right.
weren't. I feel like tonight is going to be something on another level. Like
Right.
it scares
But
me. It scares me because people are going to be killed, people are going to be hurt, no doubt, and it's
Right, but you also got to look at it from the other side of the fence. You have to look at it from no knock warrant. These officers were doing their job. They were told what to do. It happened. Who fired first? The individual fired first, and they reacted.
You have to look at it from the other.
They reacted. Their lives were at risk. Listen, reaching for a gun, your life's at risk. Raising your arm, your life's at risk. What about that 21-second rule? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got to look at it from the perspective of law enforcement just doing their job, where they were being shot at.
But that's what I mean. Like that, they need to understand that anything that they do in the job, they have to be held accountable. Because not that I think that they should understand that they could possibly die and they should do it anyway. It's the accountability. It's like it's easy to say like look at it from their side, but we shouldn't have to. Like these are people that were hired into these positions. Obviously
They're humans. They're humans like us. They're humans like us.
If you're gonna get change, you have to look at it from both angles.
You have to.
And that's why, and I'm pretty good at that. It's just I'm talking about now. This is this is what's happened after that. All that's been done. There's nothing we can go back and change.
Right.
I understand. They were like I already said that like the psychology of it. There's no doubt in my mind. Of course they shot that. That's me looking at it from their end. But I'm saying at this point on, there's nothing to argue on that sense because we can't bring her back. But now a lot of the cities and a lot of individuals tonight's not going to be.
And a big thing on that other side,
for a lot of people,
right? And a big thing on the other side, Kevin, I'm going to want you to follow this. Is all he had to do was comply. If he complied, didn't fire a shot. If he didn't fire a shot, I don't think they would have reacted the way they did. Every action has a reaction.
And looking at his perspective, he thought he was being broken into. Yeah.
Right. You got to look at it from
shoot out the front door. I mean, that's not always the best bet either.
And again, when you think you're getting robbed and broken into, reaching for a gun.
No sound, guys.
You have no sound? Well, we hear you fine. Guys, this is a great time to talk shit about Joe Cool. He can't hear us. All right, never mind.
Oh my God.
Kev. All right, Kev. What's up, Kev? Welcome to El Sancho Live.
Thank you. It's a tragic situation. We know that, but we've got to figure solutions. All we do is talk about it. What's the solution? Retraining, of course. Different ways of going into somebody's house. I mean, why didn't they use a smoke bomb? Why didn't they do something else than just open up the door and then start shooting? To me, it's funny in the military when we're overseas, we have rules and a lot of things we have to follow. And it seems like here the police have free realm, and there's no oversight. And I think that we need to figure out how to get some oversight and get the community involved with the oversight. Because if these cops can't answer for anything, look, I mean, we're now talking about there's 11 people, 11 witnesses that their testimony was that they did not hear anything said that, weren't coming in, whatever. They didn't announce themselves. But why aren't they accounted for? Why aren't their words being heard? Why is it some guy upstairs saying, oh, yeah, I heard it? To me, it's just there's just something missing here we're not seeing.
You know, I've heard that before, that military has such a chain of command that when they do one thing, they need to have like the approval of so and so and so and so and so and so. Like, I wonder why our police don't have that either. Like, it doesn't seem, uh, like, why do we give more caution to situations overseas than we do here, for us?
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know if it's
Well, I think overseas we're looked at in a lot of countries as terrorists. When you look at the amount of schools that we have accidentally bombed and the amount of children we have accidentally killed, you have to understand why other countries perceive us as that way. And that issue is still problematic to this day.
Well, Sancho, I agree with that a little bit, but you know what? The soldier who hit that button is not the one that's getting in trouble. So we have to look at it differently. You're not going to court martial. If that's the case, we bombed a school overseas. The bomber is not the one who's getting in trouble. It's somebody above him. And it seems like here, no one else besides the cop who actually pulled the trigger is getting in trouble. Where's his commanding officer? Somebody signed this off. Why aren't they getting charged with something?
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree.
Well, they're looking into the who signed off on the warrant and all that stuff right now.
Have we ever heard about a judge who signed off on a warrant that this happened, got in trouble? I've never heard of that.
Well, not the judge, but like who came up with the who came up with the warrant and all
already.
like all that stuff.
They already know. Something they don't know. They know.
Yep.
All right, Harry.
Isn't it worse than what you're saying, Kev? It's worse than not only are the other officers charged, not charged. They find excuses to make sure that they get off. That person could have had a bomb in the basement, so he gets to kill him. The guy next door could have been,
Ooh.
Yep. I agree with you,
Let's ask current law enforcement, Harry Balls. I never thought I'd say that, those sentences all in once. Harry, what's up, man? What's your thoughts on the indictment coming from one officer? The other two have been cleared of all charges. Welcome to El Sancho Live.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. I love my Joe Cool every once in a while, but we're going to disagree on a lot tonight. He'll be yelling at me, so it's all good. You're good, though, bro. You're good. I've done several no-knock warrants. Well, no-knock warrants are a very, very valuable tool in law enforcement. Whether you agree or disagree with them, it allows the element of surprise. These officers did not fire. I do not know all the ins and outs of the Breonna Taylor case. I'll be honest with you on that. I kind of heard what the other person was saying about using smoke bombs, diversionary devices. Usually with a no-knock warrant, you go in with shock and awe and you overpower the house. And it's kind of using a flash grenade or flashbang to catch them off guard. They're usually done at the ass crack of dawn. People are usually asleep. Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, he says he heard knocking on the door. Well, if it's a no-knock warrant, you don't knock. You might knock and announce, kick the door in, and go running in. But he engaged the officers first, and the officers returned fire, and unfortunately, Breonna Taylor was hit. To get the warrant, the officers had to go before a magistrate or a judge and show probable cause. They knew her boyfriend used that address from what I've read. And again, I have not read the transcripts. I've not read everything. But from what I've seen in the media, they knew that her boyfriend resided at that residence on occasion. And if I'm not mistaken... I heard that. I think so. Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, he also had a car that was in her name at that address that he drove. Credit card or something at that address. Exactly. So it wasn't like it was a cold address where they didn't know where they were going. It's an unfortunate situation that someone died, a young lady, and whether she was complicit in his drug dealings or his lifestyle, she was a civil servant. She did serve her community also as a paramedic, I think it was. I think so. It was a horrible situation. Yeah, I mean, so did she deserve to die? Absolutely not. But her boyfriend was the first one that engaged her. That's what I disagree with. I don't think he is the first one who engaged. They come to his crib, kicked in the door. They provoked that. They made it. He just responded. He wasn't the first to do anything. He'd rather been sleeping that night. They did that, not him. I think you're letting them off when you say he engaged them first. You come to my house with guns and kick
Well,
in the door.
let me ask this question. Why did they get $12 million?
Exactly. I'm not saying the shooting was justified. Okay, that's the whole premise of a no-knock warrant, is to shock and awe.
Okay, well, we agreed that the no-knock warrant, or maybe we don't, but I'll give you that it may be a circumstance. Sancho certainly has me thinking of one where they actually eyed the guy go in the house. He's violent, and he just murdered niggas, tried to rob somebody at gunpoint. Okay, we know that there may be a need for that, but absent that, I think we're saying that you put a lot of lives in jeopardy now just so a nigga don't flush drugs down the toilet. In all cases, it's not some violent dude that just walked into the house. It may be some guy who just has that address listed, and we're gonna go there and kick in the door.
Can I ask you something? How far in advance does a warrant for a raid establish before it actually happens? Like
sometimes months.
Yeah, sometimes
I'm sorry, not the warrant.
Okay, is there any anything that in the time between that they keep up to date with the situation? Because I mean, honestly, obviously things can change in a heartbeat. People can up and they want to make sure that this isn't the situation. I'm just curious what's the policy, or if there is some established policy on to keep
it varies by
eyes
state
on it.
Right, it varies by state to state. Usually you have to execute the warrant within 48 hours.
Okay.
It also becomes public knowledge or public record at that point. As soon as that warrant's issued, it actually becomes public record at that point and is accessible by anybody.
Yes,
so,
I meant to correct myself. Not that the warrant is issued, but the intel can be months old that they're acting on.
Yes. However, if you're doing your due diligence before you execute that warrant, usually the house is under surveillance beforehand. You do a pre-warrant briefing to decide what's going on, who's got what area, who's got corner 1, who's got corner 2, who's in the rear of the house, and obviously, they knew their target was in that residence.
No, they didn't. Oh, you mean previously?
Well, he was there that night.
They knew he was there at some point, right?
Well, the red flag I have, Harry, is the report states that the investigator who wrote the warrant essentially was told that a postal worker told them that he's there, which wasn't true. The postal worker denies that.
Right, and again, I don't know the crux of this case by any means. We would usually
a lot. You did.
I appreciate that, bro. Usually, we'd use a poll cam. We'd have surveillance. We would have the house watched. Once we developed our probable cause, saying this is where this guy lays his head on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we would get our warrant. We go to the magistrate and say, "Listen, here's my probable cause. He's got a history of." They don't issue no-knock warrants for low-level criminals or low-risk criminals. Magistrates
unless they lie in the paperwork.
Correct. Like I said, I have not seen the paperwork. I don't know this guy's history. And like I said, as a rule of thumb, like I said, I'm speaking from my experience, you have to go before the magistrate with your probable cause, and it has to be very detailed what your probable cause is, especially for a no-knock warrant.
The problem is that probable cause shit can be old, and you guys are on top of it if you're doing it, quickly. But some people go back to where the last drug buy was from a CI 2 months ago, and they go hit that crib on a no-knock. That happens all the time.
You're right.
I think it's a system problem too, because obviously they could have some acquaintance. They know the judge after so many times, and the judge, I just think it's all in the wording and the paperwork too to deal with everything.
Agreed.
Oh, absolutely, and I agree with that. Like I said, you have relationships with the judges, not as extreme as a lot of people think, but you're right. They know your paperwork. They know your paper's in order. They might sign off on someone else's quicker. They might sign off on mine, or vice versa.
You have your judge. You have your go-to. Well, let's get Judge Harry, because he's more apt to sign this type of warrant. They know they're sophisticated.
So, also, was it the same department that he was already arrested, right? Like that's another one of those details. Who they were looking for I don't know if it was simultaneous.
I gotta drop off for a second. I'm sorry. I'll be back in a minute.
Thanks, Harry. No, he wasn't arrested prior. He wasn't.
The same night
they were looking for another guy, and that guy was already arrested when they went.
They were looking for him. Yeah, they were essentially looking for him, and then they eventually found him after the incident, and he was a center of attention.
I was under the impression that was one of the worst parts of it.
No, he had warrants out and everything, so that's why it was elevated, because they thought he was at the residence when he wasn't. He was the ex-boyfriend. The current boyfriend was the one at the residence who fired the shot first.
But I swear I heard that he was actually arrested that night just before the
I
Like,
think
I'm
Sancho
looking.
hit it. It was the ex who was arrested. That's the guy they wanted,
That's
and
what I'm
this
talking about.
guy
The
is
ex was
someone else.
arrested.
Yes,
Yeah, no, that's what I said.
I heard
The ex
that
was
too.
the man that they were looking for is their ex-boyfriend, right?
And he was already in
And
custody
he
at
was
that time.
arrested somewhere else.
Yes, somewhere
Yeah.
else. He was already in custody when they did that shit. I
So
heard
the
him say
person
it.
they were looking for was already in custody. So all of this really, I mean, that's probably why they got paid too. And it didn't need to
Yes,
happen. There's,
yes.
I mean, every case is unique in its, but it's like the fact of the matter is, so many things went wrong and then went horribly wrong when it, life was taken. So like, I don't know. Anyway, I, I don't know who said it. Was it Kev or something that said like it's enough? It's not enough that we're like talking about it. That we need to do something, and it's hard. I think that's why people go out to protest because I mean that would be something that we
Laura,
physically do.
Laura
Right.
and Sancho, I'd like to ask you guys this. Uh, do people really respect peaceful protests? And is that what they really want when they say, just keep it peaceful and I'd be okay with it? Is that true?
What do you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, they want that, but that's not like kind of realistic.
Reality.
I think that they only say that because other people said I don't think they want that, because I've seen peaceful protests. We'll take Jeff now with the signs, they get attacked. We'll take Colin Nick with the knee. That was the inappropriate place to do it. We'll take Carlos, what's his face, with the raised fist at the
Right.
Olympics. You don't do it there. Every example I see of a real peaceful protest, everybody finds an excuse to say no, not like that.
Well, I think it's the mischaracterization of the media. You only see riots. You don't see peaceful protests in the media. So what you're being fed is all, blood and guts and gore
I
of
agree
riots.
with that 1,000%. But I'm talking about actual peaceful protests like Kaepernick taking that knee. Everybody, he should be fired. Trump, Goodell, the head of the NFL, he should be fired. How dare they do that? Everybody weighed in against that, but that was a great peaceful protest.
It was, but it took more bloodshed for that to change, unfortunately, and that's why this country is so fucking demented.
Oh, I'm demented. I went to a peaceful protest. I filmed it. I pretended to be their media.
There you go.
Yeah, but that was circumcision.
Right. So let's talk about the
General
warrant issue.
integrity. Females deserve it.
Investigation was recently indicted
Hold on,
on
guys.
several
I want to
charges.
ask you a question when you're done with
Those
it.
documents show that
Yeah.
in late July, a grand jury indicted Jamarcus Glover on charges including trafficking a controlled substance and being in possession of drug paraphernalia. A judge issued a warrant for his arrest on July 27th. Glover is the ex-boyfriend of Breonna Taylor. Police believe Glover may have been keeping drugs or money inside Taylor's apartment, which led to that search warrant on her home on March 13th.
They didn't specify what the drug was?
Drugs and no cash were discovered in her apartment.
They had no drugs, no cash was discovered at all in the apartment.
Bang
He
up
got it.
job,
I mean, that's just ridiculous. No. Why
He got indicted.
I mean, I understand maybe let's just say like it's sex trafficking or something like that.
Right.
Like you need to go in under the cover. I don't even know how they carry out those situations, like because there's probably a bunch of juvenile, like women in there. Do they go in guns blazing too? I guess I don't know, but like there are certain situations. Yeah, I understand, and that it might be very productive to do it, but this just doesn't seem like it. And especially in this community where there's homes, and like I mean, it's one thing when there's like a warehouse, like they think it's like again like sex trafficking or something, and they're holding a bunch of children somewhere, or there's like some pedophile ring, and it's in a warehouse, and there's it's kind of separated. Like yeah, do your due. But this is like I don't know why it just doesn't seem logical. Right, that they're doing this within like an apartment building or a condo,
Right.
It's nuts.
It's
like, like the freaking Wild Wild West,
So there was her name was used in a plea deal. Attorney blasts prosecutors for using Breonna Taylor's name in a suspect's plea deal. So let's kind of play this, and then Joan, I'm going to pass it off to you.
The plea deal was offered this summer, but it just became public after a Facebook post by Sam Aguiar. He's one of the attorneys representing Breonna Taylor's family, and he called it an attack on Taylor. We spoke with one of Aguiar's colleagues, Lenita Baker, who is also representing the Taylor family.
And it only served one purpose, which is to tarnish Breonna Taylor's character.
The plea deal was offered to Jamarcus Glover, the ex-boyfriend
See that?
of Breonna
I'm learning,
Taylor. He was
Laura. I'm
arrested
learning.
on drug
You
trafficking
just have to have a
charges
little
at a
square in the
separate
bottom
location
right corner.
the
You
same
don't have
night
to-
Taylor was fatally
Oh.
shot by LMPD
This is
officers
good, though.
serving a no-knock warrant on her home.
Jamarcus Glover has indicated repeatedly that Breonna Taylor didn't have anything to do with the allegations, with his charges, and so he did not sign the plea agreement.
The offer was contingent upon Glover admitting he was part of a, quote, organized crime syndicate with a list of co-defendants. On that list was Breonna Taylor's name.
I was disappointed. Being a former prosecutor, the term co-defendant it's a legal term. It's for someone who is a party to the offense. Breonna Taylor was never charged with any crimes.
Commonwealth's attorney Tom Wine declined an interview request, but he issued a statement acknowledging Taylor was never charged with a crime and was not a co-defendant. And he says the plea officer posted online was an early draft. The statement read in part, "When I was advised of the discussions, out of respect for Ms. Taylor, I directed that Ms. Breonna Taylor's name be removed."
You can say it was a draft, but it never should have been included in a draft to begin with.
In his statement, Wine also took aim at Aguiar's Facebook post, saying Aguiar's statements about the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office were a, quote, false accusation. Mark Vanderoff.
All right, there you go. So that's kind of.
There you go, nothing. That was.
It's just, I mean, this was a smear campaign to, you know, essentially paint another picture with Breonna.
Common strategy for police.
Well, it was to justify the no-knock warrant. Right. It was a kind of justification of it. She was listed in a plea deal for a drug ring case. All that stuff, you know, and that's the fascinating part about it, in my opinion. Let's go with Joan. What's your thoughts?
Jonah.
Is Joan still there?
I am. I'm here. I was keeping my guineas while I was listening. Okay, so some questions now. You know, and this is going to be off from exact details of the case, but just more for the whole presentation. Okay, give me a second to figure out how to ask this. I would like to know if there's anybody that's been in the military or is in the military and had done any raids on things. Because when I watch them in the movies, it looks almost identical to what I just saw in the video you played from 2018 on a different case and what you're describing here. And if that's the case then, and if it is very similar and somebody can confirm, yeah, that's exactly what it's like, then I'm wondering why these men that are doing these raids aren't trained like military. Because if military guys can do it but then maybe they are, because do military guys go in and just blow everybody up because it doesn't matter? They don't even have, you know, are we talking Will Smith and like Men in Black where he doesn't kill the little girl and all the aliens? Or are we talking about the guys that just go in and blow them all down? Because there's two different things there. Anyway, that's it. If you understood what I was asking.
I think you're saying which training puts more emphasis on the life of the people inside. I think.
Yeah. Should we have training that's specifically for that so that people are trained on how to do these?
Yeah.
Like that Will Smith moment there, you know?
I don't know if anything's like just like the movies to the T, you know, but I'm sure that the movies take a note from real life situation. But I'm not in the military, so I guess I can't answer.
You know, this is why I'm trying to get this course started with a couple people to do the police simulation course, to put you in their position, to put you in their boots, so to speak, to judge reaction. It's not easy. It's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback on this thing, but it's absolutely impossible to put yourself in that position when your life's on the line and you have to make this decision, and it's a half a second to do so.
Sancho, these people are not going in there for the very first time.
Yeah, I think
they're supposedly have done this before.
Right, but they also have the it's either you or me attitude, which at the end of the day, you're going to make the
Should have never
decision
been
of.
that. That's the problem. It should have never come to that. That all the things that happened before should have been addressed correctly. Then they would have known he wasn't even there.
Yes, I was gonna say.
I agree. I agree
I
with that.
think we have two different things at issue here. I think what you're saying is that people don't understand how you react in that situation. I think the argument here is how do we prevent that situation? Period.
Yeah, she's at A and I'm at like F. I agree with that.
Yeah. Okay.
You have to start at A to look at the fact that, like the Tuttle case in Houston, I've already mentioned that a couple times already. We're making mistakes here that we shouldn't be making because lives are being lost.
Chicago has the highest. Wait, I'm sorry. Is that where? Forget where.
This was Kentucky. This is Louisville,
that's
Kentucky.
Right. I know that.
This
I
is
mean,
live?
like, I can remember that Chicago
Yes.
had some of the worst bad raids. History just going in on families. Like, this is a problem in the system. This is a problem before.
It is systematic. Yes, it is.
I mean, it could easily be explained. After during a shooting. Yeah, you're gonna shoot. But I never should have come to that.
The suburbs here too, not just in the city. The suburbs around here, the cops are fucking cowboys as well. They go in there off of one CI bag, buy one bag of dope, and think it's okay for them to go play superhero.
Or they just mess with the. It's just all about the wording and the paperwork. Like it doesn't even. It's a system that is broken, and it is a system that has now resulted in, innocent death, and that's probably why they got money. And but this is what we're dealing with now. This is after the fact. This is what happens when they allow the district, like the oversight, like somebody was talking about, like the fact that it should be like more than just a judge. It should be like a higher line of like communication, so that somebody, will be able to, identify that something is amiss. Or something,
While they're going to get that warrant, I think they need to have eyes on that apartment. I think it's that serious.
Definitely should have. I mean, like somebody had said, like be on constant surveillance. Like make sure that everything is just as the paperwork said, because there's just so many examples of bad raids. Like obviously not with just this department, all over, that it just doesn't seem rational to not address them like this. Like there has to be situations where I understand that it's possible, or no, I'm sorry, that it's definite that like these cartel members are in here, like something serious, or terrorists, certain, like I think that's all separate. Like these, when you're talking about somebody that lives in a building with other people that have nothing, in other apartments, it just doesn't seem logical that they wouldn't have another different, I don't know, I guess, way to deal with it.
Hold on a sec. I've been dying to say this with Laura on the panel. Harry Balls, your thoughts?
Sorry, guys. I wasn't rage quitting, I promise. So I just came in the tail part, and I apologize. I'm on my iPhone. I can't see the names who's talking. Unfortunately, I know Joe's voice because Joe's voice is extraordinary. Everyone knows that. So the reason a panel would not work, and this is, again, what I feel is the more people that know about your warrant, the higher risk you're running. Again, no-knock warrants, I think they are a very valuable tool in law enforcement. They don't go after, let me rephrase that, we do not go after low-risk dealers, suspects with a no-knock warrant. It usually, and Joe, like I said, and you've been very honest about your past. You were a drug dealer at one point. Guns and drugs are synonymous together.
Agreed.
And the one thing and Joe and I've had this conversation a couple weeks ago. I know Joe's working on it. And to the young lady who was speaking, the one thing I would challenge you to do is go to your local police department, no matter what your feelings are. I'm not saying you're pro-cop, anti-cop, or whatever. I don't know who you are, and I mean no disrespect, but go to your local police department. They have, and even more so recently, they have use of force training for civilians, and they put you in scenarios of shoot, no shoot, to de-escalate, to escalate, and let you see what it's like firsthand. And there's a video, and I'll post it. I'm sorry.
I'm not against doing that. It's not a bad idea, but I think that like it just shouldn't have even happened, because like I said, if they had the appropriate surveillance on this situation, they would know that he wasn't even there. So like I understand in the moment, it's a whole different ballgame.
Very good. Laura is bringing back the same point.
Whole
that we
different
keep
ballgame.
discussing what happens once you're there, and our argument is you shouldn't be there, and the conversation keeps going till once you're out there.
All right, let me pass the floor to Sasha. Sasha, welcome to our Sancho Live. How are you? What's your thoughts on everything?
I don't got no thoughts. I want Hojo to show me on a doll where life hurt, where the world hurt. Show me Hojo.
Did you say Hojo?
Yep. New name Hojo, cause he a pimp.
Damn.
All right. Is that a legitimate question, Sasha?
It is a legitimate question. Hojo, where did life hurt you? Show me on a doll right fucking now.
Wow.
Wait, why? I don't understand.
Sasha's going after Joe for something.
Joe.
Oh, I know, I understand. But what is it that he said? That...
Yeah, I thought you wanted a hoe joke. I love my D-ho.
I'll be
That's
right
my
back.
favorite hoe. H-O-E.
I don't think Joe's gonna respond to that.
I don't think so either.
No, it's an actual gardening tool.
Hojo
D-ho
won't
is
respond
great
because
for
I'm not a
raking
fucking
weeds.
female that he can gang up on with Joshua Abrams.
Easy,
That's why
easy.
Hojo won't speak.
It doesn't happen on CNN, Sasha. Jesus, we were doing so well today. Jesus.
I love you, Sasha Crane, man. She comes in both barrels.
I know. I didn't expect balls deep that quick, Sasha. Normally, there's a little bit of lube beforehand.
I mean, you just had to look in the
I'm so
private
lost.
one at Hojo in the private chat.
Oh, I didn't look. There's 3 messages in private chat that I haven't, and I don't think Joe ever looks at private chat. By the way,
I haven't. I got 29. I haven't looked at either chat.
right. So is there? Okay, we're live. We're obviously seeing somebody getting arrested as we speak. Look at this,
Sasha, real
guys.
quick, I want to chime in. Laura, it is Laura Shark, correct?
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of yours. I love the way you do your audits. That's coming from law
Cop
enforcement.
watch. I don't audit that cop. Sorry,
Okay.
guys.
And I appreciate
Get it
that.
right, dude.
I did listen to your interview on Sancho's, and you did make very clear distinctions between that. It's hard for me, and I'm still learning the difference between an auditor and a cop watcher. But I love your style, the way you do things. Yes, you get heated sometimes. I like Tom also. Tom's very cool 99% of the time.
He's all right. He's not Laura though. He's all right.
No, he's not.
He's no Laura.
He's all right.
Brutality.
Tom keeps his shit together like 99% of the time, but every once in a while, Tom pushes the envelope for my eyes. And, I understand why sometimes, especially in LA County, so I get that. But I love the way you guys handle it. And I wish more cop watchers, even the 1A auditards, I call them sometimes, would handle the situation that way. I mean, and I've made this conversation on several panels with Joe, with many auditors and cop watchers. I'm not afraid of cameras. I've been doing my job for 17 years. You can videotape me to my fucking heart's content, your heart's content, and you let me do my job. When we're done, if you want to walk up and have a conversation with me, if I can, I'll share stuff with you. But when you have people who come in both barrels blaring when I'm trying to do something and distract me from what I need to be focused on at that moment, that's I think where people cross the line.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, but you got cops who sit there and you could be 30 feet away from them filming, and they get pissed off and start yelling at you and bring you into the crime scene.
That usually happens.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's both ways.
Process, bro. I can't.
I can't even see who is talking right now.
I can see this kid with the dreadlocks getting hemmed up.
Yeah, I couldn't even see who was talking.
Sorry about that.
So wait.
We got choppers everywhere.
Okay. Wait, why don't we just jump off to like the 30 feet away thing?
Again, it's situational. I mean, if I've got a 90-year-old grandmother on a traffic stop, and that's a different issue. If I got 4 gangbangers and I'm trying to watch them and I'm by myself waiting for another unit to arrive, a car to arrive, that's a different situation.
But around here, the 90-year-old grandmother needs the gun more than the young buck.
I understand too that the traffic stop is the most dangerous, or the most that's when cops are the most I get that. I just don't want to get off the topic too much from the Breonna Taylor thing, but for the most part, I don't think I push it.
No, I don't either.
People might push it, but I can say that there are times that I guess I could tip-top a little forward and maybe I'll be willing to step back or something, but
keep your hands on the steering wheel until he tells you to reach for your stuff. And unfortunately, I have a black purse that's about this big, and I'm going to tell the cop that this is a little black purse, and that's where my ID is, but it might look like a gun to you.
Okay.
And I will offer to let him pull it out for me. Because I make sure not to take anything into my truck that gets fined.
All right.
Oh, no, it's legal here, but you're not supposed to drive with it smoking it, you know.
Absolutely. So, Laura, what I was trying to chime in with is, in your defense, when you do push limit, that's also relationships you've built with those deputies, those sheriffs, those officers. You have a reputation in LA and your surrounding areas. You know, you have the expertise and the experience now to know when I can push that limit with that deputy or that officer.
Right.
And I've seen some officers who turn around and you can see an instant change of demeanor when they see, oh, it's Laura. Cool, we go back to
Okay,
that's
my problem, Harry. I'm glad you said that.
I think that actually I'm glad you brought that up, because I feel like I try to relate to people that just because I'm doing it doesn't mean that other people can do it, because I do have some dysfunctional but resemblance of a relationship with these officers. You know, they know me, like they see me and things change or they get the hell out of there. So
Harry, Laura,
I think that's important to.
I think we exclude the obvious here. Someone needs to test those who don't know them. Someone needs to walk up with a camera who they don't know. There's no test there, or there's little test there when they know us. Like around here, they all know me. That's little tests for them. They get on their best behavior.
But Joe, do you honestly think now is the time to push that limit?
No.
Now
I don't know.
better than any, right? Especially
I don't know about pushing a limit. What do you mean by pushing a limit? It's just there's new cop watchers and new auditors all the time, so you know that time will come. So I mean, I don't think that we need to like put sample or like test cases out there. That just happens. It's happening naturally.
Right, but I'll use Floyd Wallace as an example. I think Floyd is a very smart kid who has some mental issues that he knows about, but he wants to push the limit to a point that Oklahoma Cop Block or whatever he goes
picked
by.
a great example, Harry.
Omaha Cop Block. Omaha Cop Block.
Great argument.
I'm not sure if you've ever seen his videos, Laura. This kid, he wears full mask, combat tactical gear, will run up an officer with his hands in his pockets, argument with the officer. There was a situation in Indiana about 3 weeks ago. Officer's drawn down with his gun on him, point his gun at him. This idiot comes running at the cop with his hands in his pocket, yelling at the officer. Luckily, nothing happened. I agree. I understand what you guys are trying to do. I respect your First Amendments 100%.
Stay where you are with the push thing. You're on a good course there. I was talking about pushing, and you're like, Joe, what about this nigga? He really pushes it.
Right.
Is it time?
Hold on, everybody. I hate to interrupt this, but we are joined by the amazing and the charismatic Odin. Welcome to El Sancho Live.
What's up, Odin?
Hey, brother.
How you doing,
Hello, Odin.
Hello.
Charismatic motherfucker, you.
Oh, what the hell did I do?
Apparently. No.
Hey, I haven't trolled anybody up here yet.
Hey, Odin, Joe has a new name. It's called Hojo.
Apparently.
No, guys, you got to realize this panel, whenever, like Booze Now 702, whenever I came up with that name, there's literally somebody who I have no idea who this person is called Booze Now 702. So, Karen 411, there's an account out there from some strange person named Karen 411. So be careful when you coin things, because it goes into the chat. They go to their Google. They create a screen name, and there's gonna be a Hojo on fucking El Sancho's chat room tonight because of this.
Already.
I think that's the objective.
So do not do that, everybody. Just like when Joe does the do not call, do not make a screen name Hojo.
I gotta get rid of 7 of them now.
I know. I was thinking the same, Kev. I wasn't gonna say shit.
Back to what we're saying, though. I mean, regarding Floyd, I don't think Floyd is a good test case.
Sanchez, at least you have a real cop watcher up.
See what I'm saying with this guy? Just Jesus.
I'm great. I'm listening.
Sorry, Harry.
No, it's all good. Floyd's a good example, like I said, of things not to be doing right now. You know,
I'm not too familiar with that situation, but it doesn't sound safe.
And he does it constantly. He was outside of a prison.
He characterized it well, Laura. He characterized it well.
Thanks, Joe. A couple of weeks ago, he's outside of prison doing the exact same crap. And he was with a 70-year-old in a walker and a 70-year-old white guy in a walker. And then he's dressed in camouflage and full mask running around like an idiot. And the cops responded with AR-15s. And he tried saying it was racist. And I'm like, no, this guy can't walk 5 feet without having a heart attack. And you got a 20-year-old kid running around in tactical gear. It's a little bit different. And these just are not the times. And I understand you guys want, and I think everyone's voice is extremely important right now, more so than ever in our history, with the violence that's going on in Portland, in Seattle, in all these cities. And until we start having legitimate dialogue and stop fighting each other, and that goes for blue, it goes for auditors, it goes for cop watchers, whatever you want to call yourself, it's not going to change. And
I think you're right.
And
you're right.
Until I'm sorry.
I think it's easy to say that we need discourse, but I don't know if no, I mean I agree that in sentiment, like I mean I don't like violence. I don't like violence against citizens. I don't like violence against cops. I don't think that two wrongs make a right.
No, agreed. Contrary to popular belief, cops don't like violence either. I'll use myself. I can't speak for every cop. I'll speak for myself. I don't like violence.
That, so I don't have to. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll use myself. I don't like violence. Will I use violence when I have to? You're fucking right. I will. I'm going. And Joe doesn't like this answer. I'm going home at night.
Yeah, that is the cop's #1 goal, is to go home at night. Doesn't matter if anybody else.
I mean,
so is mine, baby. So is mine. Yours do not outweigh mine. If I see you reach in your pocket, I cannot say he might have had a gun. If I see, I can't say that. I think it's unequal, and I don't think that's okay.
So for those who don't know, breaking news: a grand jury has indicted a former Louisville police officer on Wednesday for wanton endanger. I think I did better than that. Wanton endangerment for his actions during the raid. No charges were announced against the other 2 officers who fired shots. Breaking news.
Very
good. Hey, Harry.
Yeah,
when Joe laughs, could you tase him? I want to hear what sounds like when he tased.
Does the frequency change?
The problem is, as soon as you tase Joe, a big puff of smoke comes out.
I know.
And everybody around him.
Everybody get a little toasty.
The thing with me with law enforcement.
Oh, wait, big puff of smoke?
Easy. The thing with me with law enforcement is there are certain things that need to go back to old school, and it's cops patrolling the neighborhoods on their feet and walking and meeting people. But right now, unfortunately, they don't feel safe doing that, and the community does not feel safe with them doing that either.
Yes.
That is what we need to get back to.
Yes.
It's going to be a long way coming, and these are conversations, and that's why I go in panels with Joe. Joe and I don't always agree.
But we agree on this. I spend an enormous amount of time without that camera talking to cops. Enormous, which is why I'm so fucking well known. I bet Laura does too.
Absolutely. I try to keep things on record for whatever it's worth. Whether or not I don't publish everything that I discuss with cops, but I definitely always like to keep it like that.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce the most normal person in this community, NJ Diver. Welcome to El Sancho Live.
Hey, what?
Can you move that stupid scream tag there?
No, because every 2 minutes people are hopping in asking me what the decision was, so I have to highlight it for a few minutes, Odin. It's called being a professional.
It's been there.
I don't agree with.
No, I just put it up.
NJ is the most normal.
It's 4:03 p.m. I put that up. I think NJ's pretty. I think NJ's pretty normal. Besides, a couple weird tendencies that he has.
Okay,
he's probably the oldest one here. He stocks Gen C. Come on now. Well, the other side of it all is, did you guys discuss the fact that the indictment was not on him shooting the young lady, but on him putting rounds beyond the young lady?
That's what made me so angry. Yes.
Yeah, we discussed that already.
Yes, it was for putting rounds in a wall is what he's been indicted for, not for the murder of that.
No, excuse me, Joe. He's being indicted for what might have been behind those walls.
Agreed.
And I agree with that charge. As an officer, you're responsible for every bullet that comes out of your gun.
Yeah, the other side.
About the one that hit her.
And the other side of it.
Drywall.
And the other side of it is.
Pray and pray.
The other side, The other side of it is. The other 2 officers were justified because someone inside the apartment fired.
Right. Yeah. We kind of. Yeah.
Yes, we talked about
the
that.
argument.
I think we were saying they should not even have been there to begin with. We're not really going to discuss. We agree that once you get shot at, you may have to fire back, but they shouldn't even been there to begin with. That was their sin.
Looks like the line is moving.
It always does. I get you, it's moving toward the protesters too, which is just wrong. Do they not watch the old black and white 60s
Thanks for
bullshit
narrating. I
film?
can see.
You know what I
Do they
think?
not learn from the past? Do you put the source of all this animosity in front of the people who
So
are angry? Why is
this
that
is gonna
smart?
make you. This might make you a little bit more angry, Joe. A first-degree wanton endangerment is considered a Class D felony, punishable with fines up to $10,000 and up to 5 years in prison.
I read
So
that
that
earlier.
is what
Yeah,
he's
but you know what?
facing.
Like I said,
Class
like I think that
D.
they just. I mean, again, it might be something more nefarious. But
Look
like,
at the press getup.
consider like a jury actually convicting a cop of murder or murder of the first, second, or I think that it would be more probable to this other
Can
charge.
you pause it?
Out.
All right, Laura. It just happened with Laquan McDonald recently in Chicago. All those murders went with no cop, and the Laquan McDonald shit took years, and the tape was came out, and then the mayor got fired, the DA, and all those state's attorney all got fired. But that was
Does
the first
anyone?
time it happened in Chicago.
Yeah. Does anyone know whether he made bail?
His bail was
I
like
know,
15
right?
grand.
Well, what is the bail if there wasn't any?
15,000, I heard.
Oh, geez.
That's accurate.
Police union could probably cover that.
Right.
Well, 15,000 is 10%.
Yeah, it's an eighth of
No,
the
all, no,
usually
all
8%.
cash.
Yeah. Oh, 15,000 cash bond.
Yep.
Either way, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's not a lot of
It's
money.
not that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching the judge give it earlier today.
Is there a PayPal pull for it now?
Where's patty cakes when you need them?
That was a good one, yeah.
I mean, the one thing that a lot of people don't understand, and of what actually protects officers in these situations, the case law is Graham versus Taylor. I'm sorry. That's what covers a lot of officers in these situations, because it's looked at by how another prudent officer would respond, and not to be basically armchair quarterbacked. Just because he was charged, does not mean he'll be convicted. Same with the officers involved with Floyd. George Floyd.
You say we don't realize. I think this is what we're yelling. There is a rule.
Hold on.
there.
Hold on. Breaking news. Ho Joe is officially in the chat. Motherfucker, guys! I told you not to do that! And now we have a Ho Joe that's saying I'm a Kenny Klein reject, which is fucking hilarious. Fuck off. Sorry, people. Carry on.
Can you help me with what you had just said? I'm about to lose. I was trying to hold on, Sancho.
About Graham versus Taylor. You were saying that it's not equal for everybody.
Yes, thank you. You say you don't think that we realize that there's a law where they that protects the police in this situation. That's our problem. We think there's a law that protects police from everything. They can do no wrong.
That I disagree with.
Can I just speak for a moment?
I mean,
is that okay? It's been quite a long time.
Hey, Joe, it's not a law.
Yeah.
It's case law. It was set up by the Supreme Court.
Thank you for that, NJ. Thank you.
Hold on, No Name. Your time. Go ahead.
I think it is unreasonable that because of the way I look, I just get waved through airports and everything else, and police, and oh my goodness, do I just say I had to pee and I get out of a speeding ticket? It is insane. I'm sorry. I'm agreeing with you, Joe, right?
I know, baby. I agree with you. I know.
It's officer's discretion.
They see me as harmless, but I say the right words. I say, officer, sir, sir, sir.
All right. If the conversation is straying, how many white folks are pulled over outside of a drug-infested neighborhood for their race? That would buttress your argument, No Name. Yes, most white people, there's no such thing as white privilege. If you have never been pulled over because of your race, that was probably some of your white privilege.
No police officer pulls over white people coming out of some place like that?
No,
I thought
got busted for drunk driving because I crashed the car. He was super nice to me.
I think I started with.
But the thing is, I told him I'm not taking the ride to Howell without a seatbelt. Will you please buckle me in, sir?
Harry, I might need
I know how to drive. You don't have to worry about it. And I said, I know how to drive too, and I still wear my seatbelt every day. And he buckled me in.
I'll start it,
All right.
NJ.
Yeah,
Without
I don't want to be going
No name.
45
No
miles
name.
an hour with no seatbelt, okay?
What'd
Joe,
you say,
how's it
Joe?
feel?
I knew the
I know that's. I like that, AJ.
Touche.
no, right?
Karma, motherfucker. Huh? Getting talked over. How's it feel?
No name, keep talking.
Oh, let me get this out before I forget, Joe.
Oh fuck. With friends like y'all, right?
What?
With friends like y'all,
Who needs enemies?
who needs enemies? I'm starting off, NJ, with absent a white motherfucker in our neighborhood that does occur. Has anyone been pulled over because of their race?
It's called reverse discrimination.
Was that a yes or a no? Have you been pulled over because of your race? Can you definitely say 100%? Can any white motherfucker outside of my drug-infested neighborhood say they've been pulled over because of their race?
I can say I've been pulled over in an area that I did not fit the demographics.
I said a race. I can think of a million reasons why they would pull white people over. I'm a smart cat too.
No, but I'm saying if I'm in a suburban area that is 99% predominant Black African American, and I'm in there in a 2021
BMW.
But no,
Have you ever been pulled over by a cop and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, honey, you're in the wrong area. It's that way to the freeway. Please go now."
I had cops that tell me that it's a high, what do they call it, a high risk area or a notorious.
right, notorious drug area. I suspect, yeah.
I live in one of those areas, and white people used to be pulled over routinely. In fact, I'm fond of having white girlfriends. I've had them send mail to their cribs. Are you aware that your car was seen in a drug infested neighborhood?
I'll be curious if NJ would answer that question. Has he been pulled over because of his color?
And are you fond of white girlfriends?
It took me a while to get pulled over. I tried.
I tried.
The few
I
times
tried
I've been,
and I tried, and then finally, and then he scurried out like a skeleton. He's like, I was like, damn, very uneventful. But I mean,
Hey, Laura.
like when I first got my driver's license, I think I got pulled over. You know, I was still a teenager. I haven't had like a moving violation in like over a decade anyway. But
Laura, this is a little change. Back to the guy Omaha. Apparently, he bought a car with the light out and no tags or something to get pulled over by the police.
He did, right?
Well, shouldn't he have been pulled over because he's just black? Why would he need a car that has lights fall out of it?
Is that the extra bit of it?
What do you think about that tactic, Laura?
I think that's. I think you're. I don't think he really appreciates the danger that he puts himself in, because when they feel threatened, or if they're like, there's just so many things that happen that, like, that leads to a shooting or something. But it's something as easy and simple as, like, if you're inside, like if you're pushing it, I don't know, that's just dangerous to me. I think that's ridiculous.
Well, he says he knows if he dies, he dies. But he's a young guy. He's like his early 20s or something.
I would hope people don't support it by watching his suicide,
Well, exactly,
Yep.
and it also undermines your guys' narrative of what you guys are trying to get out there and share with everybody.
I think it's not. I think it's a shame that he would, put himself under the same umbrella, but I wouldn't consider that anything to do with what I do. So
no, and I agree, and you're 100% right. Unfortunately, it does get lumped into that, though.
Okay.
I think you're very professional at what you do. This guy goes out looking for confrontations, and as soon as it happens, it's because I'm black.
He's looking for attention,
he's
and he's
fond
getting
of that shit.
Right.
People need
Laura,
to.
are you a cop watcher and or an activist?
I am a cop watcher, I would say I'm an activist too.
All right.
You're allowed to be both. You're allowed to be both.
I'm a cop watcher, but and there's everything that goes with being a cop watcher, and my rights and all that. I mean, like I started it because when I went out cop watching with Tom Zebra, I had no idea, like, it became very clear how many of my rights I wasn't really aware of, and I didn't exercise at all, or knew how to. But I think because there was just so many things that, like, I was like, okay, and then and then he explained to me things that I guess I knew, but it wouldn't be like right there on. So I wanted to build a platform to, like, educate, so to speak, and so people,
and so people could see police with the public real time. Not some edited TV shows. Cops or whatever. So they could see a reality of it. And I have my own little style that I had it onto it, but like
Laura, what is your buddy's name? Ida Fox told me that every person who got into this has a story. They got into it for a reason. Do you have a story?
I don't, and she might have said that, but I mean, I don't have a horror story. My story is just, I like literally, Tom Zeba ran into me at like a Rite Aid, and I was like, and I'd just been shown his videos by a friend, and I was like, oh my god, that guy's crazy. What is he like? How could he talk to the cops like that? Like, or whatever it was that my thoughts were, and I recognized him in that moment, and then he offered to take me, and all I was thinking in the moment was that if I have a contact with the cops, I want to be confident. That's all I went in thinking, and I realized, so much more. And then, and it was like a tumble. But I don't have a horror story. Like, I don't have a record. I don't have like a, cops didn't come after me.
Your
Almost
nephew
like
got beat up by the cops.
Pure area of it where I can't be yelled at for, oh, because you were some prostitute years ago. No, dude, no. I mean, I don't. I'm pretty normal as normal can get, except for like, I mean, I just like, there's just so much more that I was exposed to in one simple night, and then and then I went out with him one more night to cop watch, and then I was hooked actually. But
one last
actually, I was hooked, but I was terrified. I couldn't get out of the car. That's why Foxy and I hooked up.
One last fanboy comment, if I may, Laura, in case I get another call.
Jesus Christ, man. This is a photo op all of a sudden. You want to take a selfie with the two of you just side by side? Too? What the fuck, Joe?
Joe. I've lived up to every fucking expectation, man. You have great insight.
This cocksucker's debating doing a show on my network, and all of a sudden he's fangirling because Laura's been on multiple times, my guy.
I never caught this guy.
Yeah, he won't answer me, Sancho.
Fuck Hojo.
I think somebody asked a question to Harry Balls. Would you rat on a fellow officer doing something either illegal or even against? I think that's a big question I usually have when it comes down to like, okay, you haven't done anything wrong, but if you see it, would you, tell on him, so to speak? I think that's a good question.
I get asked that question almost every time I come on a panel. People know
I think I asked you.
Yeah.
I think that I've had a couple officers be honest with me and say like that, in so many words, explain that it's not always the best decision, but
I think you said you absolutely would.
I absolutely would. I would not. It also depends on the severity of it. Is it a teaching moment, or does this guy really break the law and do something wrong?
Right.
And
on.
that is that egregious.
Right.
I'm not gonna. I've said this, and I'll say it to the day I die. I'm not going to jeopardize who I am. I'm not going to jeopardize my character, my career, to cover someone else's mistake.
Can I say Daniel Holtzclaw?
What?
It's like
Daniel Holtzclaw. It's an often topic on
accused of a lot of rapes.
Will you pull over another cop if they're speeding in front of you?
I don't want to go into detail what I do. I am in law enforcement. Sancho knows I'm in law enforcement. I don't drive non-patrol cars.
Okay.
Would I pull someone? Would I give another officer a break if I were in a black and white or a marked unit? I'd be lying to you if I said no.
Don't they ask you like if you pulled over your mom, would you give her a ticket? No, absolutely not.
Right. I mean, it'd be disingenuous for me to say yes. I would write him a citation.
Do you guys use courtesy cards?
Nice.
We don't do that. No, those have actually gone on the side. I think NYPD has them still.
They do.
A lot
it's not just NYPD.
I think Chicago has them. A lot of agencies have gone away from them because of negative publicity on them. And Laura brought up a good point. Like you said, would you write your mom a citation? I mean,
no way.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I'd be disingenuous saying yes if I knew this guy was an officer and he's coming off a 16-hour shift that I would give him a citation. It's just it's not realistic.
I mean, I think
I wish y'all saw me like that. I wish y'all saw every citizen. This guy might be getting off of work. No chance I'm going to give him a citation.
Right?
I will tell you this: when I'm on Garden State Parkway or any of the highways that I do travel on, GSP more often than not, I've got a lot of plates that have LE on them going by me, and I'm usually doing 4 miles over the speed limit.
All right.
Okay.
I got a buddy who's a cop, and he loves speeding over 100 miles an hour. He gets pulled over. He bails out the car, what you're told not to do, flash his bag, and speed back off again.
See, we can lose our job for doing that. Like if we get pulled over, I'm not allowed technically to identify myself as an officer. Now, is there a way around that? Yes. I'm usually carrying a weapon with me. So before I make any movements, hey, by the way, I have a weapon on my side. I don't want to reach my wallet. You see it imprinted and you freak out. Why do you have a weapon? I'm an off-duty officer. Here's my credentials. Oh, cool. Have a good day.
All right.
Oh, you're not supposed to. I didn't realize that. You're not supposed to. Is that because they're afraid that you'll get some special treatment?
Yeah, it's a conflict of interest.
Yeah. Oh, the wicked webs we weave when first we learn to legislate.
Are all patrol officers like have a carry like when they're off duty, like patrol?
It varies by department to department. Our agency allows me, I can carry either my duty weapon or any weapon I want. Now, this is where I get into it with Joe quite a bit about qualified immunity and getting covered from my agency or my department. If I carry my issued firearm and I get involved in an off-duty shooting, they will cover me 100%. If I have my own personal weapon and I get involved in a shooting, even if it's a good shoot, they will not cover me. So that's why I carry my own liability insurance. A lot of officers, and this is where I'm kind of glad you segued into that. Joe brings up qualified immunity being the silver bullet to bring down law enforcement and corruption. Qualified immunity is a misnomer, and all it is, and NJ knows more about it than I do, actually. He's very versed in it, but basically it stops nuisance lawsuits and excludes officers from being sued for frivolous lawsuits. And I'm going to use the 1A community as a perfect example for the way they handle some officer complaints because the guy gave them their badge number or the guy used, and that's basically what qualified immunity is for, is to stop, like I said, frivolous lawsuits.
That may be what how it originated, but it's changed. It's for something else now. It's so people can get away with murder.
So I'm gonna do a show. Where the cops break down the cop watchers, where we're gonna essentially have a couple cops kind of break down a couple. Laura, you're more than welcome to come on. We'll break down a couple of your videos. The cops and I will.
Copycat.
Say it again, NJ.
Yeah, Massol already did it.
Did they?
Did they break down my video?
No. I have nothing against it. You want to do it? Fine. In fact, I applaud you for doing it. Go.
Well, I also did a fucking jury and a prosecution and a defendant and an actual fucking conviction of Liberty Bird getting waxed, and High Fixer didn't have any conviction if he was if he was found guilty. And number two, I don't remember a cop watcher being on with them. And number three, they're awesome. And I co-hosted a show with them on Sunday.
They cover on that.
You're ruining the show.
I don't remember it on Massel either.
I don't remember them doing that either. You just fired me up for no fucking reason. Way to go.
Somebody did it, but like I said.
Yeah. Way to go, shit starter. Way to go, you shit starter.
Hey, it happened. It may not have been Massol, but I've got over 37 different servers I looked
Trying to trigger me, you motherfucker.
It's fact. It happened.
Driver, I'm the troll here. You're the guy with the brain. Let me troll. You just do your brainy thing.
Okay, peanut breath.
Okay.
It could have been Kenny Klein. That's possible.
Kenny's in a couple breakdowns.
It was one of the other channels.
I think it was Hojo.
What kind of channels did they cover? Do you remember?
It was some shootings. It was a while.
No, I don't, because it's over a month ago.
Yeah.
I think Kenny did one that I hopped on one day when me and
Joe, you're a panel whore. You hop on all panels.
Yes, I agree. When we were out with a SWAT issue, I hopped on, and I think that's what they were doing. They were examining Omaha, and someone else did that.
I'm not competitive. I just think High Fixer, like if High Fixer was found guilty, he should have got waxed or something,
That's not fair. Why would they? What about real cop watchers?
See what I'm saying?
Those guys?
See what I'm saying?
I'd be more than happy.
So what we'll do, maybe
Right?
tonight, maybe tonight if you guys are free.
Sanchez, why are you walking over
No, I
Laura?
can't tonight, bro.
Okay, we'll schedule, and I'm gonna message Laura, and I'll message you, and we'll schedule it for the next couple
I'll be
nights.
burning down the church's chicken tonight.
I just saw somebody's comment saying disagreeing with DUI checkpoints in California like Laura Shark does is ignorant. It's not ignorant. Just, there's a whole it's a complex issue when it comes to checkpoints.
DUI checkpoints are COVID.
Yeah, I think I look at it like more than that. Like I look at it like they've been doing all these like DUI checkpoints like Thursdays, Fridays. You know how much money that costs? And like I believe that saturation patrol has a lot more comeback than it does to sit there and pay a bunch of people to stand around and stop people and pull people over trying to turn away, which you're legally allowed to in the state of California. I mean, I think that it's just so much more than that. Like, I mean, the concept, of course, I don't want people driving drunk, of course. There is a better way, and it's not as, I don't know, anyway, sorry, I saw somebody's comment.
No, regarding that, like I said, I lost my mom at 15 by a drunk driver, and in my opinion, if you get one drunk driver off the road and you spend $1 million, quite honestly, it was worth it to me.
My best friend got shot with a handgun. I hope they put up checkpoints and start checking people's trunks for guns. It's worth it.
I agree.
I'm lying. I'm being facetious. That's insane.
I'm just fucking with you.
Okay, Frank.
Do they do the?
Are you serious that you lost your mom to a drunk driver?
Yes,
no.
ma'am.
Oh, I'm sorry.
When I was 15 years old, she was killed by a drunk driver when I was a kid.
I mean, I feel like, I mean, I'm sorry for that. I mean, but I don't know. I don't know what to say. I had something really important and anyway.
Just threw you off. Huh?
I see like people, intoxicated that are taken off, but I just really feel like there's a better way to do it, and I understand but something like that is so personal to you. Isn't that like we usually take the person that's been personally affected by it out of this, conversation just for I don't know.
Or if you're in politics, you bring them to the damn State of the Union.
Yeah.
I'm not trying. I didn't mean to put it in the spot like, oh, always me. I mean, this is very personal for me. And like I said, if it gets one drunk, if that one guy was in the checkpoint that night and saved my mom, I'm all for it. So.
What about my gun?
You gotta, and it's sort of like what?
Jesus.
Why? Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's always a little more complex than that. It's just as simple as like somebody could have taken that guy off. Like it could have been done in a different way too, because there's just so many things that happen during checkpoints that.
How is it okay though to interfere with my right?
Yeah,
to
it's
travel
the Laura Shark show, Joe. Sure.
And to inconvenience me and all the rest of those people so that you can catch that guy. That's my issue.
Does
Is there a
everybody
way of
think
doing
Joe
it
talks a
where
lot?
everybody doesn't have to participate in it?
Hey, can we confirm my Discord link works? I have launched an epic campaign to get Laura Shark in my Discord. She does not know it until now, but we're doing some advertising campaigns. We're doing flyers in her area to try to convince her.
What would that accomplish? I've heard like
Stop your red flag.
What about
Discord's not that bad, Joan, right? You're in my Discord, right?
El
I
Sanchez?
am. You're fine.
What, El Sanchez, what about pink camera match and
I love him, man.
Nathaniel?
Love pink.
Well, Nasty Nathaniel's in Discord. He's in Massel's Discord, so I can tell you that right now.
I know he's in Discord.
I know Nasty. I
mean,
met.
Pink's in there. Laura was in there at one time.
Oh, you've already.
And I haven't been back since.
Oh, you never told me you're in before. Forget it now.
I told you didn't I tell you when I got interviewed by that person that it was?
Yes.
That's that one time.
Hey, Sancho?
Yes, it works. Yep.
Yeah, Sancho, Pink's been in since the days of the hopping speakeasy.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll try to get her in Discord.
Freaking loser.
It's great though. It's a great way to interact more with people, promote yourself, especially my Discord. We have like a men's room, a ladies' room. We have a Joe Cool room where we just talk about Joe the whole time.
I'm in that one a lot.
Yeah, that one's like the memes of Joe Cool and the strategizing on Joe Cool is epic in that Joe Cool room in Discord.
I'm sure it is.
Anyway, guys, I'm gonna drop off. I appreciate Sancho's always having me, and you guys
Hey,
be safe. Have fun.
appreciate you, bro, tons, man, and thanks for your courage, man. A lot of motherfuckers who share your point of view
All right, bro.
will not speak on it, and they're worthless. So, fuck
5 people just joined the Discord over this. This is fucking awesome. Thank you, everybody, for joining the Discord. So let's kind of wrap up, everybody.
They're
You
my
know,
socks, by the way.
that was your sock, okay? Just as long as it's not your other thing. So let's kind of get everyone's thoughts. We'll start with Laura, then we'll go with No Name. No Name is not here anymore. We'll
I'm
go with.
wrapping up right now, Sancho.
You're wrapping up. Royal Blunts. So we're gonna do ladies first. We're gonna go to Laura, then we're gonna go to Joan, then we're gonna go to Joe, Kevin, Odin, and we're gonna save the best for last. The instigator, NJ Diver. Laura, your thoughts on this whole decision that was made, etc.
Really, I think I pretty much said, like, my overall thoughts about. You mean about Breonna, right? Yeah. We kind of got off topic there.
Like the Breonna Taylor case. Essentially.
It didn't ever come to the point where she was shot. I think I pretty much, have said how I guess some people just show up, but I feel like it shouldn't be an issue about what should have happened during it. It should have been the fact that it should have never happened due to better, them watching, whatever. I'm not good at this part. My closing arguments.
So could you give us a little preview of what's going on over in Laura Shark's channel?
I've been doing a lot of focusing on Los Angeles Sheriff's Department because they had recently shot and killed a Deshaun Keezy. But I've been kind of covering more the protests or whatever, and I've been kind of digging into Alex Villanueva, the sheriff, sheriff. I usually go in and out of like informative videos to cop watch videos to back to informative, try to keep it like once I find out something that's like I tend to like make a video of it, or just making sure people are aware of the LASD. That's me.
Awesome. Joan, kind of wrap up, put a bow, and kind of let us know where to find you on YouTube and what you got cooking over in your channel.
Thank you. Oh, this is so awesome. I'm loving this. I'm getting dings that people are subbing to my channel. I'm like, what? It's fantastic. Right? As far as the case goes, here's my closing argument. When it comes to behaviors, you can learn a lot from a dummy. My channel, we're just keeping up the same thing. We're just talking about what makes us tick, listening to people who have interesting things to say. I admire you a lot, Sancho. Thanks for letting me ride on your coattails today, because I'm watching you and learning as you're doing this. I like what you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a fan. And Laura, it is nice to talk to you. I've heard about you from day one. You're actually in my notes for a video idea that I've had in my mind. So maybe it's time now to unleash it. I might have to do it now. To give a shout out to all the female auditors out there that are kicking ass. And I guess that's about it. I've got Rotten Studios too, which is gonna start cooking up here with more stuff. So if you check that out. And basically I just do behaviors. I'm just curious why people do the things they do. So I learned by picking apart the things that you guys bring to the table. You guys are interesting. You always have interesting stories, and I like it. So thank you.
Let's now go to the flamboyant Joe Cole.
I piggyback off of something Jones said. Anybody could learn something from a dummy, and I think we're missing an opportunity here to learn something from a dummy. Nothing will be learned here because of the decision they went with. This won't better the future. This won't help anything. It'll keep things status quo. And my channel, I think I hit the road Tuesday. I think I'll be gone for a week or more. So that's what's going on with me.
You want to give a quick shout out? Thank you, 900 subs. We just clicked 900 subs. Thank you, 100 way to 1,000. Appreciate everybody for that.
Congrats.
Thank you, means a lot. Kev, what's your thoughts on everything that you've discussed today?
I can unsub 30 times now. Yay!
I think it's a sad situation. I think a lot of new training needs to be developed. I'm really disappointed in how it turned out today. I think from their decisions that they announced today there's going to be a lot more violence, and it's a sad day. And I'll be on Sancho's channel more often now, so you guys can find me here.
I agree with whatever Kevin just said.
Hey, can I say something about Shiva? Can I give an announcement about Shiva? And Saturday, what they're doing, I don't know if it's the fuck with some tournament, whatever. It's the one where the trolls. We will find out who's the worst troll and that type of thing. I like to encourage everyone to go over there early Saturday. I think, I don't know, 10:50 my time or something. I'm bad at that part. But go over there. We get to give the trolls back the same shit. Tell your best and your greatest troll story.
Yeah,
is that the Shit Gibbons tournament you're talking about?
Yeah, yes.
Because I'm in that, I think. I heard a rumor I'm in that.
The other thing you're missing, Joe.
I'm just hoping I'm not in it twice.
Joe, you're missing something about Shiva and Tarquin, though.
1 p.m. Shiva's in chat. You're right.
Yeah, they're going to do a cop watch.
You go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, Tarquin and Shiva are going to do a cop watch. I'm going to wrap up in a few, but if Shiva, you want to hop on for 2 minutes for Laura to kind of give her give some advice to you for your cop watch, we can do it. But
yeah, I don't know if you met Shiva. Absolutely.
It's in England, right? He's in England, right? So it's going to. Well, I mean, he's in New Hampshire. We all know, but right. I mean, let's just pretend like he's not in New Hampshire.
All right, with that fake accent.
Yeah, that's the fucking voice modulator, like mine is. Him and I are the king of voice modulators. You kidding me?
Hold on, she might need a translator.
Right. NJ doesn't have a command yet because he's an instigating fuck. Sorry, guys.
I have a YouTube channel, but there ain't nothing there.
Right. It's like Kev. It's a YouTube channel for nothing. So yeah, all right. So I'm gonna come back tonight, guys. So you're gonna get 3 hours of me now, and I'm gonna come back tonight. Probably, I'm working on not going as late. I know everyone's complaining about me going late on the East Coast. It's kind of giving more love to the West Coast. But I definitely am going to work on doing some 9 p.m., 10 p.m. streams. Tonight might be 10:30, 11 o'clock stream, just because I did 3 hours and I need a break a little bit. I need some dogs to roll around and play with people. But NJ, I'm sorry. I kind of like skipped over you. I'm so sorry. I didn't even know you were here, NJ. Shame on me. Shame on me. I'm a dumb motherfucker. NJ, what's your thoughts on this? So, what's your thoughts on this whole decision, etc.?
What's the problem with grand juries? They only get the information that the prosecution wants them to see, and that's the way it is all across the country and the federal as well. The problem is the grand jury cannot go by emotion. They got to go by the facts that are presented. And if the prosecutor doesn't want to go after a individual for a public opinion type charge, they don't have to. They go after what they know they're going to win on.
Awesome. Great point. Shiva, how are you?
Get the translator out.
Come on, Shiva. You're not a rookie at this, my guy.
Can you hear me?
There you go. How are you doing today, Shiva?
Oh, I'm not bad. I'm not bad.
So I've heard rumors. Oh?
How do I sound now?
It's that voice modulator. Did you get the one I told you to get? The one I'm using?
I got the Rollins VT4.
Perfect, my guy.
So do I sound like a friendly granny now?
You sound like normal now.
Anything
different.
Are we going to have Black Label Wars now?
I'm not meant to sound normal. That's not right.
Actually, can you DM me that on Discord, what you're using? Because somebody asked me about something about that similar topic.
Is that the one you got today or yesterday, Shiva?
Is that how a Brit sounds like on a vibrator?
This isn't normal. What are you talking about, you lying bastards?
That's what a Brit sounds on helium.
So Laura's time's valuable. So Shiva, I've heard you're doing a cop watch with Target. With Tarquin.
Tarquin. Unless Laura has experience with the UK police, I'm not sure that she's going to have anything kind of helpful to say. In the same way that I wouldn't use my experiences with the UK police to try and tell an American how to interact with the US police.
What about the fundamentals What about the fundamentals, Laura, that come with holding a camera and filming the police? I think.
Right.
How do you know I don't?
translate.
Hang on.
Why?
How do you know I don't have experience in both of those areas?
There you go.
Now, in terms of equipment,
I think that he sounds like he's pretty good to go.
in terms of equipment, I think that, you know, I mean, that's just common sense, right? I used to work in nightclubs, and so I'm quite well versed in moving through crowds whilst protecting my very expensive camera equipment.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know.
Sorry, are you? Okay.
You're right. You there because
And I have interacted. Well, we're going to use a combination of things. I'm going to be borrowing my other half's phone because I don't have one. So I'm going to be live streaming on that, but I'm also going to be taking my DSLR and filming on that as well. So I'll probably do like an edited video. Tarquin's got a couple of GoPros and a phone. So we've got quite a lot of cameras. Also, we're going to have probably at least one person with us who's not directly involved with the filming.
Yeah. Sounds like you're covered. It sounds like
you got to get angles covered. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I was trying to be a nice guy, my guy, Shiva. I'm sorry. We have an OG and a cop watching on the panel, and I'm trying to be a nice guy to you, man. You're trying to say I'm competitive, and I'm trying to gift you Laura Shark right now.
Shut your face, Sancho. I was having a nice conversation with Laura until you decided to butt in with your egotistical butt-hurtness. Now, Laura...
Me and him have a similar giggle.
Laura, you should swing by the shit show.
Oh, here we go. Hijacking.
Of course. Oh. Look.
This guy accused me of being competitive, and he hops on my panel. Hey, you should learn about me. Subscribe to me. Come over to me. Which I'm fine with, by the way. You know me. I promote everybody.
It's not my fault if you have interesting people on your panel.
I always do. Porn stars to everybody.
Who's the cop? Who's the cop, or is the cop gone?
Yeah, we did an all-cop stream the other night until Joe and CFW fucked it up.
Well, I mean, I can't... Do you know how many fucking streams there are to keep track of in this community? It's mental.
Yeah, you're all over. You support everybody, which I appreciate. You know that.
I can't watch them all.
I only watch content.
See, she only watches me. She only watches me, and I want her to stay watching me.
I've seen a couple of Massholes, but...
oh, yeah, great. Masshole's good. Me and I co-host with Masshole. They're fine. They're great. They're good people. But this guy, not so much. Stranger danger.
Can I suggest that you swing by the Church of Four and watch one of our shit shows, because we actually have fun over there.
What is it?
Jesus Christ. Have you seen my fucking avatar, Shiva? Have you seen my fucking avatar? I have fun too.
The Church of Four. The Church of Four, it's called. Yeah.
And if you go over there, you'll have more of an intelligent conversation too.
Oh.
More intelligent, more English, and funnier.
The English part kind of gets hard to
You're lucky I like Loon so much.
And with a stiff upper lip.
I'm going to be honest. If it wasn't for Aloon and Tarquin and Naven, my channel would be shit.
Yeah. There's a behind-the-scenes operation to get Loon to join me like I did with Kev. I'm trying to get everyone to join the Dark Order over here, and Loon's my next target to come over to Sancho and join me.
You might be... You might...
The dark side.
You might have your work cut out for you there.
I know, it's a challenge. That's why I'm standing up when I'm talking about this subject, because I take it serious, Shiva. That's why. I mean, if my camera was on, you know I'm pacing back and forth with a really long wired headset.
Hey, man, I want to picture that image so bad.
Is this the... get your mind out of the gutter, man. Now, is this the Laura that people keep recommending as being...
Yes.
Kind of... Now, I'm going to use the word advisedly in air quotes, a good auditor.
No.
No. Don't insult. No, she's a cop watcher. She's an activist and a cop watcher.
Right, okay.
Do not call her an auditor.
Well, I'm sure there are good auditors out there. I haven't encountered one yet. I do like... now, Laura, I'm going to say the pool of auditors or cop watchers that I think are good are very small.
Right. Oh, whoops. Whoops.
Irate Productions and now I'm going to be honest. Southside Slacker. I'm kind of warming to Joe's approach. I wish you wouldn't call him a motherfucker so much.
Or blow
I
me.
wish you wouldn't. I wish you wouldn't call him a motherfucker though.
Or insinuate oral sex to law enforcement. That's a little bit of a weird thing too between you and me, Shiva.
Yeah, I mean,
a little weird.
It is a little weird.
It's a little weird.
No.
It's kind of an oral sex fetish that he has up there, but
During-
it, you know, it is what it is. Like, you do you, boo boo. You do you, boo boo. You and your white girl fetish.
During my cop watch, I am going to try as hard as possible to, one, not get triggered, and two, be polite.
Always call for being polite, but yeah, I don't know. In time, you know, I mean, I think I was probably too nice in the beginning, obviously, because I was getting my feedback. But yeah. But
Oh no, I'm not going to do what they want.
Right.
So what I'm going to refuse to do is to identify myself, and if I get arrested, that's going to be why, because police don't like it when you don't ID yourself over here.
We'll have to do a paper towel for Shiva.
Like, is it a no ID or stop an ID? In your city?
Well, in the UK, you're under no obligation to identify yourself to a police officer, except under certain circumstances. So I think if you're a witness to a crime, you need to identify yourself when asked.
Really?
I think so. I might be wrong about that. But certainly, when you're arrested,
when you're suspected under that terrorist act bullshit y'all got over there.
Yeah, as far as
no, Joe, no, arrested. I keep saying arrested, and you keep twisting it to if they're asking me questions.
You're definitely going to get triggered. You're definitely going to get triggered.
Shiva, is there exception if you pull a Sergeant Schultz about the witness thing? You wouldn't know that
Speak
reference.
English.
You don't watch TV.
Are you doing a static record, or are you doing this live?
Both, I think.
Are you afraid of a reflection like I was when I did my live like a fucktard?
No, I'm going to be wearing a face mask.
Okay, all right.
All
right.
Yeah, Shiva. The reference I made was to a character on an American TV comedy show about POWs in
Why did you
Germany.
make that reference to me?
Because
As
it's a German sergeant at the POW camp. Every
No,
time
don't
he saw
explain it.
something-
Don't
He's a fucking
explain it.
instigator,
Don't
Shiva. He's an
explain it.
instigator, Shiva. I told you he's an instigator.
Don't
He's an
explain it to
instigator.
me. I've not seen the program. I'm not going to get it.
You're a shit stirrer, NJ. What happened to you? You were my
Hogan
thesaurus, and now
Zeros.
you're stirring shit up.
My
You're triggering
word.
Shiva. You're triggering me. You're gonna go on Masshole and trigger them. You're gonna go on Kenny Klein and trigger them. What are you doing, NJ? What happened to you? Where did we lose
Is
you?
that Hogan's Heroes, NJ? Are you talking about Hogan's Hero?
Yeah.
God,
I've never seen that show.
Sergeant Schultz, I think his name was.
I see nothing.
My word.
Hear nothing.
Right, speak the England.
If
you're gonna,
See no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil.
that's not from that show.
No,
That's from
that's
something
what he
else,
does.
isn't it?
It's exclamation point church for you guys. There it is, right there. Oh wait, is it? Was it church or Shiva?
No,
Shiva. What did
Shiva.
I do? You? It's Shiva. Sorry. Awesome. So exclamation point Shiva for Shiva's channel. So I've been hearing rumors, and I've been very busy with my content over here. I heard rumors that I'm in some tournament called the Shit Gibbons tournament. Is that correct? And what is
I
that?
don't know. Let me have a look. Channel on.
Because I kind of want to give a preview of it, and I want to know how serious I should take this with my, my public image being so serious and all now.
I mean, yeah, of course you're in there. Who are you against? You are fighting against in round one, Gary Snowflake.
Okay. So I've never talked to you before.
So a few weeks ago, we did this tournament where we had 32 auditors and cop watchers and conspiracy theorists and fringe thinkers, fuckwits, and we every week we would have 4 matches, right, where 2 fuckwits were paired up against each other, and then people would come on the panel and argue for why one of the auditors was a bigger fuckwit than the other auditor, and then people in the chat would vote on a poll. And as the weeks progressed, we narrowed it down, and you know, we had like semi-finals and finals and whatnot, and that was very funny because it's, you know, it's funny taking the piss out of people, right? And we thought it'd be funny to do the same thing, but have it switch round, so have auditors come on the panel, and we'd have, you know, the trolls and the haters would be paired up against each other, and then they'd argue for who was the bigger piece of shit, I suppose. I mean, because that's how it's going to have to work, right? Is that the auditors, we have to advertise it as come and what's the roast, I suppose.
Right,
roast the
come and
you know, us.
Come and participate in the roast. Come in the same way all of those guys, you guys, even I think myself, gave what we thought was wrong about the auditors and shit and how shitty they were.
Yeah.
Get to give our same emphasis. Nathan deserves it because of that fucking sign. Damn it.
But it's like the emphasis is on having a laugh, really. Like, it's meant to be funny, you know.
Yes.
You know. Now, for the auditors, we're going to initiate special rules for the panel for the Shit Gibbon tournament. So if you're on panel, one rule that will be new will be no attacking other panel members. And that's because during the tournament itself, or at least during the tournament episodes, I want the auditors to feel like they can come on the panel and they're not just going to be jumped on straight away.
Right on.
Or they can make a video if they really don't want to do that. Make a short video, publish it on the day, you know. Yeah.
So, what are the rules? Like, am I able to do some campaigns bashing the living shit out of this guy about his tax rate and his view on slavery and all that shit? Because I'm gonna take votes away from him.
Yeah, the rules are there are rules, sort of. The rules, I think there's essentially only one rule, which is that you can't lie about people.
Oh fuck! Never mind. I don't know. I don't know anything about the guy, so I was gonna lie about him just to do what they do in politics. I want to win, so I'm gonna do smear campaigns. You know what a smear campaign is? That's what I was gonna do. But you tell me I can't smear them, then fuck it.
You know some trolls. You've had some, and you got stories.
Oh, his opinion on abortion's horrendous. His opinion on taxes is absolutely laughable. And I think if I tell the public about it, no one's going to vote for him, and I'll win. And then I'll go on to the next person, and I'll make some shit up about them, and then I'll make my way to the finals with a very aggressive campaign.
Right, see, so here's what might be quite interesting, right? Because we might have two styles of argumentation on the panels. Now, because we might have the auditors coming on saying this guy's a complete piece of shit and here's why, and other trolls coming on essentially, like, I don't know, that would be a bit weird.
So,
like with Taryn, let me try to say what she was wrap that up with. Like with Taryn, I want to not Taryn, Wilma. I want to talk about something that wasn't trollish of him. I think I'll be in support of fucking Wilma. He's charming as fuck.
So are you saying I could have like a legal representative represent me?
If you like.
Yeah.
Eric Brandt, are you listening? Text me.
You can cheat.
Okay. Joe,
Nathan cheated. Several weeks in a row, he got out all of his socks to make sure that certain votes went his way.
I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people in a short period of time. So this is good. I'm gonna win this shit, Joe. I'm taking this shit serious, my guy. Don't put me in a fucking tournament and expect me to lose. I don't care what kind of tournament it is. I don't care if it's a peanut butter eating sandwich tournament. Don't put me in a tournament and expect me to go half-ass. I go hard. That's the only way I know how to go.
I'm telling you now, there's no way that you're gonna. I wouldn't bet on you.
Woo!
You're up against some fucking.
You got some serious competition.
But I can't do the But if I can't do the campaign ads, he'll win. If I do the campaign ads, I'll win.
If you want to do campaign ads on your channel, go ahead.
I just want to say bye.
Laura, thank you for your time.
Nice meeting you, Laura.
I'll talk to you later, Laura.
That was a good one, Laura.
Way to go, Shiva. You scared her off, you fuck.
I wasn't even shouting.
Way to go. So yes to the campaign ads now?
Yeah, sure. But
great.
it's like, if you come on the panel, you can't just... like, I suppose, if you're lying and it's obvious that you're joking...
Right.
That's one thing. But if you're going to come on and try and say, oh, you know, Gary Snowflake doesn't pay his taxes.
Oh, no.
Like,
Everything will be pure humor, but it's going to take votes away from him, that's for sure. Because I don't know anything about the guy, with all due respect.
Go for it. I would like to see well-made, and I know you're talented, commercials that we can air during Shiva's show.
Yeah, Sancho, just keep throwing those Al Capone jokes. That's all.
Yeah. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I didn't think you would. Why was he imprisoned?
So anyone who wants to follow NJ Diver on
Jesus.
Discord...
NJ Diver, stop making references that you know nobody is going to get.
Thank you, Shiva, because I thought I was the only one.
My grandpa might remember that one.
What has happened to him?
He was in.
You had him on your panel like yesterday during that stupid fucking protest, and he's an angry person now on every other panel.
That's nothing to do with me.
Texas.
You can't make jokes that you got to be 100 years old to get.
He saw Jeff is here call a female a dumb fat bitch, and now all of a sudden NJ Diver's an angry person now, instigating shit.
Maybe I'm the only one in here that didn't sleep through history class.
Oh.
Okay, I understood.
He was there for taxes and he died.
Okay, I understood it a little bit, but it wasn't funny.
My word. Oh, my word. That was even, I mean, that's like below the belt, that is, man. That was below the belt. I wouldn't go that low. No, hang on. I actually would with certain people. Brian I'd go that low with.
Who's that?
Hats off for the vid you posted this morning, Shiva. Loved it.
Did you like that, did you?
Yeah, I did, and I'm already screen mirroring. I just don't want to start because he's going to give me shit about fanboying on Shiva.
So, Joe, have you officially responded to the question Kev asked you? Because I'm tired of chasing your ass. You see the big names I can get on this panel.
What Kev asked? Oh, I don't think I have, but I'll respond now. Yes, I think we should do it, Kev.
Okay.
We should absolutely do it.
All right, so let's get some behind the scenes collaborating with that shit and get it scheduled.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Cool.
Jesus, Kev, look what I had to do. I had to publicly call his ass out to get an answer from him.
I know.
Like, is he going to be late for every show and, like, just completely, like, we got to chase him down?
He's only
Yeah, you got to tell him 1 o'clock and really go on 3.
Oh, yeah. That'd be funny. All right, so when is this tournament starting? Is it, like, all at once, or are you breaking it down like you did one of the tournaments I remember a few months ago?
Breaking it down.
Yeah, no, we're breaking it down, yeah. So, Saturday.
Saturday's the first 2 or...
Four people, Shiva?
First 4.
Who are the first 4?
I think this will be like our 3rd attempt at starting it or something.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like, I commend you for that. It's a lot, and I think you and I have that, you know, trying to come up with original content, you know, there. And it's difficult to keep people's attention on something. You kind of got to look back and be like,
I think it's even more difficult for Shiva for some reason. Shiva's guys, it's more like we're friends. You do more of a show and shit. Shiva, we come over there, he could be drawing for 30 minutes, you know.
Yeah, I don't
well,
like
not
that
on the
part.
shit show. Not on the shit show.
No, like the original stuff's the shit show. That's where the original
We
stuff.
got more cops, guys. I'll be right back.
Here we go. Cops are coming after you.
Well, in the first week, we've got Drama Dome versus me, a lunatic versus Man with a Mic, Teresa R versus DDT Grish, and Desert Sentinel versus Degeneration Nation.
They're all good people. Like, that's the problem. You just mentioned solid human beings, every single one of them.
Yeah, but they're all shitkibbins.
Right, but they have every reason to be. Like, they have every... I'm biased because this is, like, the tournament that I think, like, they're all good people in. But the names you just threw at me are really good people. And
This isn't the bad person tournament.
No, I know that, but it's fucking hilarious that we're seeing good people go up against good people. Normally, it's the opposite: good people versus bad people. I don't know. I've
Sanchez, Teresa will beat you hands down.
Yeah, she's one of my mentors, so I'm not gonna beat her. You kidding me? You're out of your fucking, and like Desert is as well. So, yeah, there's no. I mean, listen, I'll fucking lay down for any one of those two people out of respect, and probably
Well,
Masshole Report as well. But fuck Degeneration Nation. I'm just kidding.
The matches were actually randomly generated by the tournament website.
Okay.
So there's some quite funny ones later. We've got Big D versus GD.
Okay.
You versus Gary Snowflake.
Okay, interesting.
Golden Eyes versus Cindy.
Oh, that's gonna be hilarious.
What else? Masshole is against the Frog.
The Frog.
Your other half.
I've never heard of the Frog before.
Haven't you?
No, I'm still new to this. I'm sorry.
The Frog is Shiva in disguise.
I cover a lot of other things, so I'm still a little new to a lot of things, you know.
If you really want to be confused with the English accent, you got to listen to both of them on a panel at the same time.
Really?
Apparently so. Apparently we sound very similar.
Very, unfortunately.
All right. Well, I want everyone to subscribe to Kev, to Odin, to Shiva, the Church of Four, to Laura, to Joe Cole. Thank you, everybody, for getting me over the 900 sub mark. I really appreciate that. The race to 1,000 officially begins. Took a little couple days off, and this was an impromptu stream after this big decision. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please subscribe to every single person who has been on this panel. It seems like Shiva this weekend has a lot going on, so please check him out. Please check out his live stream, and like, share, and subscribe. And everybody, I will see you tonight.